like to call the meeting, special meeting of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District School Committee meeting to interview 2 candidates for superintendent. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Julie Hannum, yes.
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 Jim?
Yes.
And Nancy Worthington?
She's muted.
Nancy, are you there?
She's muted.
I am finally, yes.
Arthur, yes. Public comment. Go ahead.
So.
3 minutes. And come up, we didn't move the book. Can you come up here and,
Do you want me to just stand right in glasses?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
yep,
Okay.
name, please.
Sarah Tatro. I received an email from Tara White asking me to read this for her because she has to attend a select board meeting. Dear school committee members, tonight you are making one of the biggest decisions you will make for the students, staff, and communities of our district. Under the direction of our interim superintendent, Dr. Brian Ricca, a calmness has come over the district that hasn't been there in many years. Talking to parents, students, staff, and even people who choice their kids into our district, the overwhelming feeling is that they are happy with the current leadership. They feel heard and feel that they are part of a team again. I watched firsthand at the recent school finance committee meetings how the staff kept referring to all the meetings they had with Dr. Ricca in developing their budgets. They were coordinating with each other, combining line items, explaining increases and decreases in their budgets, and looking at ways to save money in the district. What a tremendous change from the last 3 years of this process in which little or no information was available. It appears that Dr. Ricca has been able to navigate and guide this incredibly difficult process and allow those who have hands-on in their respective positions to feel they can speak freely and make changes that matter to the students and move the district forward in a positive manner. Last Tuesday night, a student stood up and read a letter signed by approximately 150 other students in the school in support of Dr. Ricca. These kids are the future of the district. They have made their choice clear. The staff members have made their choice clear. The students and staff have their fingers on the pulse of the district. Are they all wrong in their choice? I support the appointment of Dr. Brian Ricca as our next superintendent and urge the school committee to support the district by appointing him. Thank you for your time. Tara White, New Marlboro. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more public comment? Approved finalist interview questions.
Wait, we have you're standing to make a public comment.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Regina King. I was a 20-year employee here, and the last few years were very, very difficult. However, in speaking with my former coworkers, with my athletes, with my friends, I have found that the interim superintendent has been present. I have seen him personally at many of the activities within the school district, supporting these students, encouraging them. He has been at basketball games, soccer games, he has been at the play, he has been at the concerts, and he has always made himself available to the students and the athletes. He has encouraged them, and that is what has been lacking in this district for the last 7 years. When we had previous superintendents, they were always present. You could see them. Their door was open to the students. They could go and speak with the superintendent about their concerns and know that they were heard. In the last few years, the door has been locked. They have not been allowed to be in there. They have not been allowed to express their feelings and thoughts. And I think that with this new interim superintendent, he has done a job of turning things around and making this back to a community, a family, of people that care about one another and support one another. And I think that's what we need here, and I wish that you would allow him to continue in the role as superintendent. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Marchone. I'm from New Marlboro. Former member of the school committee when we were building this place. Selectman for many years. I've been involved in the finance committee for many, many years. I need to speak up for Dr. Ricca also. I've seen a real change completely across the board. Staff, administration, teachers, children. I'm at the school all the time. My 4 children went to school here. My 5 grandchildren have gone to school here. I'm here for plays, for theater, picking up, dropping off, and I see Brian everywhere. He was at the play the other night, and he was checking in on the game during intermission. He was at the game before that. I mean, he's all over the place. And the children, I have to say, really, really connect with him. I haven't seen anything like since this 40 years ago. Seriously, I mean, this district was really, really in need of a change. I agree with what you said, community. He knows all the kids' names. He knows all the teachers' names. He goes into the classroom. He knocks on the door. He asks them to talk about their issues, asks if he can sit in with the band, asks if he can bounce a basketball. I mean, he really is. It's important to keep our community, and we have not had it in many years. Have not had it in the district. The budgeting process has been horrific over the last 6 years. It's been terrible, absolutely terrible. The budgets that I used to receive were this thick, and every school committee member got it. There was not a finance committee in the school committee. The entire school committee was the finance committee. I can see us getting back to something like that. I really, really think that this district is coming together after a really tough time. And, you know, you all may have loved her, but the staff and the children, there was no connection, absolutely no connection. The way I measure a person, whether it's a man or a woman, is when I put out my hand and shake their hand and they make eye contact with me, I can see what kind of a person they are, and this is a good man and a good administrator, and I really hope that you will consider everything that all the people and the children have said, and the administrators also. Okay, thank you.
Marie Kamen, Sandusfield. I know that I was a former guardian to a student who went here. And so I had a lot of dealings with the district. And I will say the one big thing that has really changed since Dr. Ricca took over is the fact that the staff, the teachers who are with our kids more waking hours than we are as parents are actually happy. They smile. I can walk into this school and the teachers are actually happy. Beth did not promote that kind of interest with teachers. She shunned them. They weren't offered to have an opinion. And Dr. Ricca actually sits down and listens to them, which makes a difference to them, which makes them happy, which makes them better teachers for the students, and they are our future. I've personally sat down with him. We've gone over reinstituting the scholarships that I give here to seniors. He's been nothing but kind. The kids that choice in from Sandusfield actually love him. And I think that's going to be important in the future, given the fact that a new high school is being built in Great Barrington, where now Sandusfield residents could potentially choice their kids out into a brand-new high school, depending upon what they are going to offer. So I think you want to keep this momentum up, and I would certainly encourage you to keep that momentum up and keep the students, the parents, the community, and the teachers happy. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dave Hastings from the Marlborough and a former superintendent here. I just want to talk a little bit about how I saw the job and what seemed to work while I was superintendent. You know, the whole thing isn't physics, it's chemistry. We have a small district where relationships matter between the teachers, between the administrating staff, and you have a wonderful administration in both schools right now. We have a lot of things that we do well. I think any district would be happy if 2.5% of their students, seniors, were accepted at Williams. But that's what we can say right now. 1 out of, I don't know how many kids are in the class. We do a lot of things really well. A lot of you went to the play that just happened. We have a strong arts program, strong music program every year. Our band is featured as the band at Lee Founders Day, and you've all been to that. Our arts program is super. At the same time, we have our technology program, and his wonderful robotics team, Chris's robotics team, came in second out of the whole state. And the drone program, I mean, we do everything. We have a lot of areas where we do them better than anybody else. We're small enough so that we can innovate, we can create programs like the early college, and I think Brian has a lot of ideas about where we can go for people, all the kids who get out of school and they start their own businesses, how we can serve that population as well. You know, I've been meeting with Brian since September, about once a month, have over coffee, and I was a little skeptical because I had heard about the problems with the union at a previous school district. I have to tell you, if it can't be me, then I'd like it to be him. But I'm almost 77 years old, so it's not going to be me. But I feel that he's an educator. He knows what it's like to be a teacher. Curriculum, he knows. 15 years of budget, he knows budget. There are a lot of things he does, but who he is more important than what he knows. And I think that's what our culture is all about. Who we are and how we interact with each other. And I think he hits a home run every time. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Approval of finalist interview questions. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the questions.
Second. But,
Anybody have questions?
I had a question.
No, Bonnie's first.
Oh, sorry.
I don't see anywhere, unless I missed it, where it would be appropriate to bring up two things that I think are very important. His opinion or influence in terms of statewide involvement as a professional. I can see it in his resume, but I want to know if what he's built. And for both of them, I want statewide involvement. The other is statewide involvement related to state funding, rural aid, Chapter 70, etc., and including any bridges he's built to elected officials. So did I miss the question, Kim?
No, but I think we can follow up with questions like that under 5, where it says budgeting stuff, because we're allowed to ask questions after the fact. Would that fall under that one?
I'm turning the page.
How do you develop a district budget? Whose input do you solicit, et cetera?
It's on page 4.
4, I skipped a page, missed a page.
She's talking about, you said number 5, right?
Yes,
I'm looking.
because that seems to be a finance question.
It's finance and also political cloud, but that would fit together.
Yes, so I think would it,
You could have that follow-up question.
You can use it as a follow-up.
I'd be fine with that. If everyone else is happy with amending question 5 to have that
well,
follow-up.
I think we're allowed to just have a follow-up.
You're,
Without any, okay, fine, I'm fine.
The question I wondered about, that I had submitted, regional school districts require strong collaboration among member towns. How would you build trust, transparency, and shared ownership among school committee, town leadership, faculty, staff, parents, and the community at large? So it's broader than just town. But I don't know how we would,
What number?
what's that?
What number?
It isn't a number, that's what I mean. I was
It's what you
looking
sent in.
for, it was one that I sent in, asking about transparency and commitment and that sort of thing, and I didn't see something. I don't know, is there one that it could be a follow-up to something like that? I don't know, I'm fine with that, but,
that was one of the questions, very similar question that we had in the interview, so we tried not to ask the same questions.
but as someone who was not involved with that, I would like to hear that answer.
Let's see.
The budget question, Kim, does that not get down to the local level and how you interact?
Yeah,
with
for the
stakeholders
budget, for
involved
the
in-
transparency and the budget in the towns and the district, that part. Because I would say that also goes under number 5. So would you do a second follow-up after Bonnie under number 5?
But this question goes into faculty, staff, parents. It goes beyond that. Would it still fit under there?
So I would just say that, because of the opening and closing, I was careful to let you know you got about 4,
Yeah.
just shy of 4.3 minutes per question.
Okay,
If there's time for follow-ups,
yeah.
you can certainly mark them down and ask them at the end.
Okay.
Or if appropriate, and
Yep.
you're doing well on time, you can ask them in real time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if it seems to fit somewhere, I'd be able to ask that as a
Or
follow-up.
ask it at the end if we.
At the end, if it
we-
doesn't quite come up that way. Okay,
If we still have time.
okay, that's fine. All right.
Excuse me? Art,
Yeah.
can somebody send the questions packets to me and to Jim, because or at least to me anyway, because I can't find them in my emails?
I saw them go out. I saw them go out from Michelle.
They went out this morning from Michelle, like 10, 11
With the
o'clock.
agenda, Nancy.
All right, I'll look again. I didn't see them in what she sent to me.
Yeah.
There were 4 documents, Nancy, so you might have to download the zip. You gotta download all 4 and it comes as a zip file.
Here, I'm gonna forward it to you, Nancy.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Jim, do you have the questions?
Is he muted?
He's muted.
I do, and I can.
Would you fit with 6?
I do not have the question.
Okay, we'll get them. They'll be sent to you.
He didn't get it either?
Maybe.
I'm just gonna forward it to him.
One that sort of
No,
matched
that
it.
was the same with mine.
Yeah. But I'll figure out where to put it.
Who was the other member, Nancy? You, Jim, and?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it?
The rest of us are here.
All right, I'm forwarding them.
Liz, I just did. They should get 1,000,000 copies now.
I'm gonna need a vote to approve. Are you guys done looking at the questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Liz. Of course.
So I guess we could vote on it now.
I just got, I'm waiting again, Jim.
Oh,
I think he's all set.
Jim, are you all set?
I had one question that I don't think made the list that I thought was pretty important. And that was, what are the kinds of things you want our kindergartners to know 12 years from now? I think that's kind of the bottom line of what a superintendent is supposed to be about. It's, are we preparing our children adequately?
Could
with
that,
the education we're providing them for the future.
could that follow in professional development program?
Or
Yeah.
4 or 8?
What about number 2, programming?
Two.
Seems to follow everything.
Yeah.
Programming, what exists, how to improve it, what other programming ideas?
yeah, I think 2 is perfect.
2. Jim, when we get to 2, you can ask that follow-up question.
You can ask it to follow up. Okay.
I don't know how to fit everywhere.
Okay,
Do we have to-
Yes?
yeah.
Oh,
Jim, I'm calling the question.
Following what do you?
We have to vote on we have to vote on the questions.
We have to vote on the question. Yes?
Bonnie,
yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Arthur, yes. Okay.
And Nancy, yes.
I saw you give me the thumbs up.
Should I go get the candidate, Art?
Yep,
And I would let them know there's potential follow-ups.
yes,
Keep it going.
yes. Keep it going.
Thank you, Liz.
I think she got that in the interview, so we just need to tell her to keep it going.
Got it.
Here's a question, are we supposed to save these like we did for the search committee?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
What's the question you want to follow up? Is it, how would you work with local?
About
municipalities?
transparency. Just FYI, I'm thinking I might do the transparency follow-up after number 9. Who do you see as most critical stakeholders? I'll see how the answer goes. The asking about transparency might fit well there.
okay.
All right, thank you.
I think only 2 of my questions are here.
Well, mine are, they're worded differently, but most of them are there. Yeah, that's fine.
Question for you. Did you ask Liz at all about moving, should she be selected? She lives in North Providence.
Her answer today, when we were talking about how long people commute and stuff, the candidates both are equal distance from the district to
Yeah, but
driving.
that's an hour plus.
Yeah,
But she also lives near Lake George,
yeah.
so she has 2 properties.
We can ask, but we can't require them to move anywhere.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking if we've asked in the past about people moving, because that's a sizable difference.
I think
Yeah.
that's something worth discussing, to have someone in the district
Maybe.
after having someone not in the district and the problems that caused.
I don't know, because both candidates are outside of district.
Well, we could
But if
ask
one is
both.
willing to
And then
move,
Elizabeth, let go. Everyone's gonna introduce themselves, and then you'll get your chance to
Good
Give
evening.
an introductory statement as well.
Arthur Pataki, Chair of the School Committee.
Good evening.
Kim Alcantara, Monterey, Vice Chair, School Committee.
Miguel Mir from New Marlboro.
I'm Carl Stewart, and I'm from Alford.
Amy Bainbridge Jordan from Sheffield.
Julie Hannum, also from Sheffield.
Bonnie Silvers, also from Sheffield.
And you have two people
Yeah,
on
Julie's
Zoom.
back here. Jim?
Jim DePisa from Egremont.
Nancy?
Nancy Worthington in Marlboro.
Good evening.
And you're up.
And my turn?
Yep.
I'm Liz Legault. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight about being the new superintendent of Southern Berkshire Regional. I'm very excited to be here because it was a great day. I got out to see all the schools. Teachers are amazing that I got to see and with the students, and was in all the classrooms today. Principals really enjoyed showing off their buildings, and the lead teachers talking about their kids, so I had a really nice time. And the one-room schoolhouse was just, that's a delight to see, and that you still have something like that going on. So even in the cold weather, we got out and around, and it was nice to see that. So thank you. I look forward to answering some questions.
I just want to read something very quickly. Dear fellow school committee members, community staff, and students, we, the school committee for Southern Berkshire Regional School District, have been tasked with the selection to fulfill and hire the next full-time superintendent. I want to remind you that we need to listen carefully to the questions and the candidates' answers. We have received several letters of support from our community members, and every voice deserves to be heard. However, the letters represent a few within our very large community. We at Southern Berkshire Regional School District governing body have to take in consideration the 600 students, 200 staff, and around 7,000 community members that make up the 5 towns. So please let us join together to listen, debate both thoughtfully and productively, and hopefully fulfill the position that we have been charged to fill.
Okay, questions? Number one.
Are you doing the
Aren't you
questions?
reading all of them?
Oh, I am. Sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry about that. Okay, question number 1. What have you done to prepare yourself for the superintendency? What are the strengths that you bring to the position? What would be your personal professional development plan were you to become our superintendent?
I've sat in this seat for the last 12 years as superintendent of the East Bridgewater Public Schools for 10, and prior to that, the Whitehall Central School District. Prior to that, I was secondary director, high school principal, middle school principal, and 11 years as physical education health at 7 through 12, Central Falls, Rhode Island. I have worked in urban, rural, and suburban school districts. I have had 98% free and reduced lunch. A district. I've been in a district of 100% free and reduced district. And I've also been in a suburban district that...
Could you speak up a little?
Sure.
Sorry, we have a fan behind us.
And I've been in a suburban district that is affluent on the South Shore in East Bridgewater. In all of those seats, the one thing that I can say about being a superintendent is the love of children, the passion that we have, and the excitement to move the district forward with predictability and sustainability, with an effective budget that allocates resources for student achievement, number 1, and 2, to continue the capital projects and to continue us moving forward in a decisive manner from my office or from the superintendent, from the central office of the school committee, to move the district forward, both student achievement and creating an aesthetic, balanced budget every year for the aesthetics of the school district, your classrooms, outdoors and indoors. My professional development plan has continued to move forward with my own growth. Joining the superintendent's group locally, continue to do my mass professional development, work with DESE, do the professional development webinars that they have, go to my own, go to the mass conferences in the summer and throughout the year. There's a lot for us to do, and there's a lot for us to continue to grow. We learn every day, and we learn a lot by talking to our staffs. And when I were to get here, I would do a 30, 60, 90 plan and do a listening tour for that first 30 days. And that would be a good professional development.
Can you go, I personally don't know what a 30, 60, 90 plan is.
30 days, so a 36,
So
an entry plan for a superintendent of schools would be a 30, 60, 90-day plan of the first 30 days. It would be a listening tour. It would be in the buildings every day. It would be talking to faculty, staff, community members, going out, making myself accessible and available at any and all times, making sure that I go to the library, Council of Aging, do a coffee and do an afternoon after school. Be every place that you can be, so that you understand what our communities need, what they want, and then talk to my teachers and staff to make sure that we're hearing them and understanding what they're asking for and giving them the support that they need. And then after that, you do 60 days, and then you give feedback after your 30 days. Make sure that you heard what you listened to. So when you give feedback, you'll get feedback like, no, that's not what I said, Liz. You didn't hear me correctly. Can I talk to you again? Then you go 60 days and you start to work on your implementation. What you're going to do, maybe give feedback of, this is what I heard, these are the steps that I'm going to take in this direction, and I'm going to move us forward in that direction. Once I get to, at the end of that 60 days, I give another feedback and say, this is what I've learned, this is where I'm at, this is what I think, this is where the community is. I'll get feedback again from the community of stakeholders, and then for the next 30 days, I start to implement, say these are the first steps I'm going to do in this implementation, whether it is in budget, whether it is looking at capital projects, whether it is looking at developing a new curriculum cycle. Regardless of what it is, there's a plan, and it's strategic in placement. It's an entry plan.
Any questions? Nancy, Jim, do you have any questions? Okay, moving on to question number 2. Have you reviewed our programming for Southern Berkshire Regional School District? How do you think you can support, improve existing programs, and what other programming ideas do you have that may help round out our students' education?
First of all, I can't believe the programs that you do have today. Walking around, I cannot believe the amount of supports and resources that this district has put in place for your students. It's tremendous for a rural district to have what you have. Walking around and having 2 psychologists, having 3 adjustment counselors, that is huge for a district. With 589 students and being rural as you are, it's amazing, and it tells the story that you believe in your students, that you truly want to, that you embrace them, that you want them to do well, that you want them to be college and career ready, that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they are successful in whatever pathway they take. I was able to talk to the early college coordinator today. That is one of my favorite programs. I think that is I know that's going to be supported by DESE moving forward. Having students be able to gain credits while they're in their high school career, coming out of their freshman year, starting to look at their career and college pathways, going in their sophomore year, starting to take a course, maybe the sophomore going into junior year, the summer. being accredited with a local university, whether it's UMass or Westfield State, or wherever you end up moving towards or moving to into that capacity, that's a tremendous asset to the students. It gives them an outlook that they didn't have, and it allows them to say, is this the career that I want, or should I move this way? It also can possibly get a gen ed credit out of the way and help their parents with financially going to college. Robotics, drones. There are schools that do not have this, and coming in here and watching, I had a student take me around today who was in a robotics competition this last weekend. She showed me her robot. She was articulate. She was excited. She understood the mechanics. She understood why it was moving, how to work with another student. There are a lot of skills, and the skill sets that she's learned in just doing that shows that your programming for student achievement, it's just amazing. I'm very surprised. I'm not surprised. I know this is what we do in public education. I'm delighted to see that. I love the fact that that student was so excited to show me what she did. The early childhood, that's a program that without early intervention in special needs and having early childhood education, spot on. With early intervention, we can take care of so many issues moving forward. That your early intervention program is spot on. I got to talk to the special ed director today, the assistant special ed director. Both of them said the same exact thing. So they're working in the same lane. They're talking about the same things. I'm just very excited that these things are in place, and that supports, resources, and allocations from the superintendent's office could only support the good things that are going on. I got to see your pre-K. I got to see the early childhood center. All these lanes are set up. What I would add, I don't know if I would add a program. I think too many programs sometimes take away from all the good that you have, and it would take me some time to come in and to be strategic and really look at what are the needs, what can we support, can we support anything else, can we support more programs, or do we hone in on the programs that we have and just make them better. The drama and the theater program, the musicals and the art program, it is all around this building, all around all of the buildings. I went into the elementary schools, both of the elementary schools. There was artwork all over the place. It is shown from kindergarten, pre-K, all the way to the senior high school. It's important to the students to keep those programs intact and to continue to support and allocate the resources. I don't know if I would add programs. I think I would like to take time to make sure that what we're doing, that we have everything in line with what we're doing today, not take away from those programs. And then as we move forward, what programs are we looking at adding and do it in the right sense. You don't want to water what you got down. You want to make them better and then add program as we move forward.
Any questions? Nancy, Jim, any questions?
Yeah, terrible.
Do you need water or anything?
No.
Okay. Just
Thanks.
want to check. It gets dry in here. Special education is a particular challenge because of the complexity of rules, service needs, and student and parent concerns. When you assess the effectiveness of your special education programs, what are some of the criteria you use?
Best way to put that is that to work hand in hand with your special education director. They are the expert in that field. I am an advocate of having of a strong CPAC, of the special parents of special education students advocating for everyone, because not everybody understands all the laws. Not everybody understands what an IEP means, what a 504 means. It's hard. It's difficult for many parents to understand, you know, I know my son or daughter needs something. I don't understand what the interventions are. Why can't they just get interventions right now? Why can't I just get on an IEP, get this taken care of, and just make it all better? There needs to be a conversation, and we're going to intervene as quickly and as efficiently as we can. I think conversations and transparency, advocacy groups, having our CPAC meetings, having the school council meetings are extremely important to work with our parents. I think our biggest issue in public education is sometimes we don't take the time to talk about what we do, how it's done, how it moves forward, the timeline that it's taking, and just have constant communication and hands-on with our parents. We know what we're doing, we have the experts are doing, and sometimes we just keep going and we say, we got this, don't worry, we got your son, we got your daughter, we got this. And we need to slow down, and that's what I think special education directors do very well. And their liaisons in each building do very, very well, and special education teachers do extremely well. They talk their parents, they talk them through, they find themselves educating their parents and letting them know how things are going to proceed throughout the IEP. So the law is the law, and we'll follow the law, and we will work with students, and we will make sure that what is written in an IEP, that not only the most of the classes are for most classes, from what my understanding today is walked around, is we're all inclusion. So the general education teacher, along with the co-teacher of the special education, will work in that classroom together. Both teachers must know what is said on that IEP and intervene for that student. And that's one of the things that I would support, and one of the things that I would work on with the special education director, is that everybody's in the know. We know how to move students, we know how to intervene, we know how to support with interventions, we know how to move students along so that they have opportunity and access to all of our classes, and that they also have achievement on the way.
Anybody have questions? Jim, Nancy, any follow-ups?
No questions.
Okay. Number 4, how do you ensure that all students across multiple towns and school buildings have equitable access to academic opportunities, special education services, enrichment, and social emotional supports?
What's good for, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's just like it's like having a district with multiple buildings. Every building, we have one curriculum cycle, we have one district, one goal. And if the kindergarten in one building is working on this, then the other building is going to work on that. They're all going to have the same curriculum. They're all going to have the same resources. We'll make sure that every building looks the same. The way that teachers teach, it's their own. We all have our own creative style. We all have our own strategies in the classroom. We'll have a robust professional development academy to help support our staff and our teachers, whether it is for special needs students, ELL, whatever we need to do to enhance our teaching styles. But yet, each of our teachers are individuals, and they have their own strategies and their own support system in their classroom. But when it comes to curriculum, we'll work with our teachers. We'll make sure that they like what they will be the ones who will choose the curriculum and moving it with the director of curriculum and instruction, and we will implement that curriculum across the board and in all schools. When you're talking about social emotional, make sure that the adjustment counselors are in each building, making sure that that students have the access to whatever we're offering at one building will be offered at the other. No one is going to go without. That's something that I am a huge advocate of. I'm a champion of that nobody that goes to our school district will go without. What's good for one is good for all, and everybody is on the same team, same goal, one district, one goal. And moving forward, and when it comes to social emotional, we intervene quickly, we're there, we do it. We know our students. There's not a person in this district that doesn't, when a child comes in, that we don't know what they need, what supports we already have, and how we have to go out and get resources and supports for that student. We must advocate for our kids. And even if you call this the main campus and then the other buildings are off campus, those other buildings are tentacles of what are we doing here. And including myself, I don't like sitting behind my desk, so I'll be in classrooms. I'm out walking all the time. I'll be in those buildings all the time. I will know what's going on in those buildings, and I will make sure that we have a fluid and a commonality between all buildings, and that no one feels left out. You know, I did talk to one of the teachers off campus or in one of the buildings today, and that was said. Community buildings are great. Your own community is wonderful. Parents love that because it's theirs, and they love those buildings and they love those teachers. But there are teachers, they want to be involved. And from the main campus, when there's a high school, when the high school's giving the Christmas concert every year, or maybe they're giving a little sample of Shrek on a Thursday afternoon, when you're in those satellite buildings, you don't get to just come up here and see that. Where the kids in this building get to cycle through, the kindergartners, the preschool, they may get to see the Christmas concert a little bit. Everybody's involved. On those satellite buildings, they might not be able to do that. They have other things, and they told me about those today. But there should be a little bit more of connectivity where we're bringing them up here, or we're going there, and there's a little bit more movement. No one should go without, and we should all be on the same page at all times.
Okay, any questions? Bonnie?
Given that you supervise district with multiple buildings, can you give a specific example of how you implemented what you just described for our district?
For curriculum or for?
Any programs, et cetera, so that there was that equality across schools in your district?
So we had the director of curriculum would go to each building and discuss where they were in the implementation phase. So they would meet with, say, the second grade 1 week, or go to one building. It was a pre-K 1-2 building. Make sure that what we designed for curriculum and what we designed in assessments, that they were on scope and sequence with the curriculum, and then that would be 1 week of scope and sequence. Then the next week we would talk about the assessments, and then maybe the third week they would talk about data. And they would be talking to the teachers constantly once a week and moving that on a continuum. Same thing, director of curriculum would be in that building for one day, then go to the next building the next day, talk about scope and sequence, where are they with curriculum, what are needs, what are wants, then go to assessments, and then talk about data. Same thing from each building. If we were to have a concert, we would let the obviously you're not going to let kindergartners walk up from a building here because it's a little bit far because I got a ride today. But sending a bus over, bringing students here, allowing them to watch the kids in a Christmas concert in the morning from 9 to 10 and then taking them back, or 10 to 11 or 1 to 3 or 2 to 3 in the afternoon, and then taking them back to their building. Those are things that we need to do so the students they feel a part of us, our teaching staff feels a part of us, our staff feels a part of us, and that we're all one, and that we're moving together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nancy, Jim? Anybody else on here? Okay, number 5. The citizens in our community demand value for their tax dollar and, transparency and fiscal accountability. In this light, tell us about how you have ensured that the budget you propose and the financial plan that you oversee as approved by the school committee is as compact and efficient as possible. How do you develop the district budget proposal? Whose input do you solicit in developing the budget? And what has been your history working with municipal officials like a town manager, finance committee, city council, or mayor in supporting your budget?
I start with the budget with my principals. They know the needs of the students and they know the needs of their teachers. In that meeting, it's with the principals, is always finance director, business administrator, and curriculum director, so that we're all hearing the same things and that we're all talking on the same, we're all on the same plane. That's where we start on the ground floor. We talk about personnel and then curriculum and instruction. We put those together and then we talk about capital. Principals are there for curriculum instruction and really there for curriculum instruction and student achievement. Then when we talk about capital projects, that sort of moves just to athletics, to building operations, to a boiler project, to a roofing project, to windows, maybe doing a driveway. We'll talk about those. But we start with the principals because I think it's very important that the principals are involved because the principals are talking to their teachers, the teachers are going to talk to them. Director of curriculum will give us a scope and sequence. I had a scope and sequence in East Bridgewater where one year we would do ELA, the next year it was math, the next year it was science, the next year it was social studies, and so that you can't buy all curriculums all at the same time. They're way too expensive, and they should be on a cycle anyways because things are going to come up, the frameworks are going to change, and we're going to need to make adaptations as we move forward. So that's a big piece. Personnel. I need to know who's retiring, God bless you, who's retiring. Is there a need? Is there an elementary need? Is there a middle certificate need? Is there an adjustment counselor need? What certificates are needed? What personnel is needed? What support staff is needed? We'll hear that from the principals. Once we know what we need for buildings, what we need for personnel, that's our biggest piece of the pie, and then we talk about capital. You ask who I work with, you start with the building level, I take it to I'm sure there's a subcommittee from the school committee I start with, and I meet with them on what the budget needs, what supports and resources we need, and I always go with the needs first. this are the needs, these are the wants, we'll put those over here first, and we'll get all the big ticket items out of the way. Subcommittee and I work on that, bring it back a couple of times to the principals, make sure that I've got everything that we need, keep moving forward. Finance committee, meet with them 3 or 4 times on in all towns, not just one town, in all towns that I need to meet with, as we hone in on a number and we all start to agree, come to the entire school committee and say, and then obviously we have a budget meetings, and then go out to the forum. When I took over East Bridgewater, they were $1.5 million in the hole. I came in without a business administrator in the first year, worked with the unions, worked with all units, worked with the town, got them out of the 1.5. I needed 2.2 to come back around so that I could negotiate with all contracts. So really it was a $2.2 million budget. There was zero pretty much in all the revolving accounts. When I left, there was $2.8 million to the good in the revolving accounts. And for the last 10 years, I had never laid off a person in East Bridgewater. I've never laid off a person as superintendent in any of my school districts. And I have never had an override, and I've had all budgets passed as is when I bring it to the floor. I make sure that everyone in the towns has a chance to see the budgets, has a chance to look over the budgets, has a chance to talk to me about the budgets, has a chance to come to the school committee about the budgets. Everybody's going to know about the budget way before we even bring it out to the floor or talk about it. I don't like to talk about layoffs because I think there's ways around that. I think we can support our teachers and staff. They are the boots on the ground, and that's my focal point when I'm moving forward, is my teachers and my staff, and making sure that we have the supports in place so that we can help every student that comes through the doors. That's how I build the budget. I think people put a lot of time, finance I like. I'd like to dig into the budgets. I think there's ways to look at things differently and out-of-box thinking. Just because we've done it one way for 50 years in the Commonwealth doesn't mean we got to keep going in that direction. I think there's different ways of looking at budgets, different ways of negotiating contracts, different ways of making sure that people understand our budgets with transparency, honesty, and integrity. I work well with municipal leaders. I work well with town leaders. I work well with finance committee leaders and school committee leaders and subcommittee. But it's the subcommittee and the superintendent that move forward to the entire board, and then we get that passed, then we just continue to move forward and then bring it to the community.
Any follow-ups?
Yes.
Bonnie, and then I would like to.
I'm interested in terms of finance, your experience working, just given in Massachusetts at all, on a state level, particularly the issues facing rural schools, getting funding, everything from, transportation and horrible Chapter 70 and rural aid, etc. And do you have any experience in terms of that area that you can share with us?
So 10 years as a Massachusetts superintendent in Chapter 70 and being on the legislation teams. Yes. On the rural level, I was in a suburban school in Massachusetts and rural in New York, so I understand your question. I do think Chapter 70 is antiquated. I do not think that it offers enough support to the school, especially the rural schools, but it didn't offer a lot of support to the suburban schools. We are up against an SOA, the Student Opportunity Act, that supports the urbans more than I believe that it does any other district. It would be, that's why I'm saying, I think we need to look outside the box. I think we need to advocate for the rules. I certainly would do that and figure out some type of, we've got to do something different from what we're doing. I've been on the legislative committee to get more money for all schools. I don't believe that it's a one and done, and I don't believe that it's a one track for this Chapter 70. They need to look at it differently. We're not going to change it today, obviously, but they need to look at it differently. The millionaire's tax didn't do what they said they were going to do. So we need to advocate. We as superintendents need to advocate. We as school committees need to advocate to push and to get the SOA money, to get the millionaire's tax. I do believe that, and I hope that Governor Healy is going to push for more money in the rules. I hope that the new commissioner will open up more grants, and we see more grants for the innovative career pathways, for college and career ready, or for the early college. I hope that we see more circuit breaker money. We need more help, more supports. I had a great conversation with the director of curriculum today from here, of curriculum instruction, and we had a nice conversation about the rules look very much like an urban when it comes to the needs of our students. There are needs that a rural community needs, just like the needs of an urban community. Maybe a little bit different in the nuances, but other than that, there's a need for resources in rural communities. I mean, I couldn't believe the resources that you had today and the supports. So what it shows me is that you're aligning your budget in the right places to student achievement. I'd have to look at it more and dig deep, but I am resourceful enough to understand how to get grants. But I'm also resourceful enough to look and think outside the box, to have the right conversations with the right people, and to move things differently with what we have going on today, to dig it maybe a little bit deeper, and I'm not talking about increasing taxes or reaching into a pocket deeper. I'm looking at realigning some things and allocating and figuring out how to find more financial stability in what we have today.
Have you can point to any specific with your legislative committees where you've had a success?
I think every year when the superintendents go to it's the day on the Hill, when we all go up, when they see us coming. On the South Shore, I worked with Senator Timilty, Senator Brady, and Representative Sullivan. I called their offices. They've come to sit with me in my office. I meet with them on the day on the Hill, and they've always given us or tried to give us more money when asked for. I think that that's what we need to continue to do. I also know that I have called and asked for help with MSBA projects, getting some street signs where there was no sidewalks, getting some solar signs. Representative Sullivan was fantastic with that. Senator Timilty helped me get some more money for grants. So it's advocacy. That's my job, and that's what I do. I got to get on the phone, and I got to knock on doors, and I have to make sure that my legislators know who I am. Did I ever put a piece of legislation forward? No, because I'm part of the Massachusetts Superintendents Association. They put what we're looking forward. So we vote on things to go forward, and our legislation committee puts those things forward.
Right.
Joe Baeta, the superintendent of Stoughton, and I chaired a committee. We also are on a couple committees together. But he's a huge advocate and brings everything that we say from the South Shore forward. So,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you.
I think I'm next, right?
She's
And-
next, and then you, Nancy.
So,
Tim's next.
piggybacking on your answer and Bonnie's question, Southern Berkshire also has thought out of the box. Like our ESSER money, we actually took some of it and redid our HVAC system instead of passing the cost off to the town.
Right.
We also have applied for door grants, window grants, and other things to try to offset the capital costs. And we put quite a bit of capital into our building for upkeep. Can you give me examples of what you in your previous district did with your ESSER money and what kind of capital grants that you applied for?
Yeah. ESSER, I did a doorway, I did doorways, I did, I'm trying to think, new desks, new tables, elementary seating. I didn't use it for salaries. I used it for Google Chrome, more Chromebooks, more safety equipment. I got cameras. Cameras on every door, cameras on every buildings, cameras in and out of places throughout. Put some money into athletics, some one-time. Curriculum, a few things in curriculum, some science equipment, some good science equipment. There was so much during ESSER. A lot of one-time big projects we did with ESSER. And I did use it. We did get a nurse. We did use ESSER funds to get an extra nurse for each building, for 3 buildings. So we had 2 nurses in each building instead of 1. And what I said was, after this is over with, everybody's going to want 2 nurses in each building. And so when that happens, just remember, we're going to have to bring that into our budget. So as we go forward, we're going to need to do that. Lo and behold, after it was done, everybody wanted to keep 2 nurses in each building. Everybody was crazy about it, and I said, we got to figure out how to do this. We were good coming out of COVID. Last year was the first year we were really feeling a pinch that we might need more money, and I suggested to the school committee, because of our school choice monies that we brought in about $250,000 to $267,000 a year in school choice. And I said I had about $918,000 in that account at the time. And I said to the school committee, I said, why don't you take $250,000 a year and allocate it right now to your budget for personnel? Because a school nurse would see all those students in school choice. And so that's what they decided to do, and they passed that. And then capital projects from ESSER?
Well, just grants, like the door grants we got and things like that, just something to offset cost.
Yeah, I got a couple of IT grants for cameras. So the locks on the doors, they're very expensive. I don't know if you know how expensive these metal doors are with the buzzer system. And I got a grant to put more buzzers, key fobs and buzzers on the doors, and more locks. That's where a lot of my grants were in the last couple of years, was IT, was more safety. We got a grant for putting the cell phones in the bags. We got the cell phone grant. We were one of the first schools to apply and receive that grant. We had the innovation grant. We had an early childhood grant. I've applied for grants that have been $3,000. I've applied for grants that have been $500,000. Career Tech Grant. We got it I can't remember the name of that. What's it? 241. At the middle school, we received a grant that paid for a STEM program, and it brought in, it was $50,000 a year, and brought in a first-year teacher to teach that class, and we ran it for 2 years off the grant, and in the third year, we combined 2 classes so that we could keep the STEM grant, or the STEM class. We took the librarian wanted to go in that direction. We didn't think we were going to be able to hold up a full-time librarian. We took the librarian and that STEM program, put it together, and we moved forward. And then that young teacher had an elementary certification and I had a retirement, and that teacher came back in. So we're always moving in the right direction when it comes to that. I can't put my hand on any specific grant, but.
That was a lot of examples. Nance?
This question may be doable in another place so that we can move on. My question really is about what's understood about rural aid and how it's allocated, such like that, and where some of the discrepancies are between the eastern part of the state and the northwestern part of the state. What do you understand about that? But if that could be another follow-up for another question, that might be.
Might as well go for it.
Seems
We're right
like
here.
it should be-
Did you hear her?
Rural aid?
Yeah. Nancy, can you say it one more time and louder?
I'll try.
That's better.
I'm in another stage of art's lovely cold. What I'm wondering is what you understand of rural aid, how it's allocated, what the discrepancies are between the funding for rural schools, particularly the western part of the state versus the eastern part of the state. Leave it at that. If you can talk also we'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Chapter 70 is Chapter 70. It really, it covers, as I looked up the allocations, net school spending is net school spending, Chapter 70, and how they do regional formulas is a little bit different. I would have to dig deeper into the rural funding. I have not been in a rural district, but I certainly would look into that more. But it's what we get from the state is what we get. What we have to come up with from our towns, we have to come up with to figure out how we're going to move the district forward. So I'd have to look into it more to really have a better answer and to really have a solid.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, are we set on that? What does strong school-based leadership mean to you as an administrative issue and learning strategy? What is the proper balance between school-based management, central office supervision, and school committee policy making and oversight?
Building principals, building leadership run their buildings. Central office oversees, but we're really a support and a resource for building principals. We should not usurp their authority, or I should not usurp their authority. There should always be a conversation. When parents call central office, the first question that we ask is, have you talked to the principal? We should not usurp any authority at the building level. And parents should know, start at your building. I always say that. Always start with the building principal, always start with the teacher, start at the building level, and then come to us if we can't come to a resolution. It doesn't send a good signal, and you're usurping someone's authority to move their building forward. And you also don't want teachers jumping over their principal unless it's a really serious situation, and then I would speak to a teacher, but they should go right to their building principals. The building principal should run their building. The building principal, I have meetings with building principals on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, whatever we need to do, we have those meetings. We follow policy. We have a protocol from, as an administrator, you follow the protocols. You follow whether it is progressive discipline, whether it is filing any type of discipline for teachers or discipline for staff or personnel or discipline for a student. You're following a certain protocol. You're following the law, and you move it forward to the superintendent's office, and then we'll make the decisions, and we'll go from there. When you talk about policy, we always follow policy. It's a school committee. I'm the liaison from the school committee to the district. I will follow policy. I will make sure that the buildings follow policy. I've never really had a problem with not following policy or protocol that I have been asked to steward as the superintendent. So that's something that I find that's just the way we're governed. So I don't see any problem with that.
Any questions? Jim, Nancy, any questions?
We're gonna have to get going another time.
Yep.
Yeah, one
Oh, you got a question, Jim?
question. Okay, I've always seen,
Can you hear him?
No.
Jim, you gotta speak louder.
Yeah, I'm speaking now, I'm sorry. I've always seen superintendents as having to be visionary. So my question is, what are the kinds of things you want our kindergartners to know 12 years from now?
I think we're on the wrong question for that, Jim.
It's the wrong question?
Yep.
Sorry.
I think
We'll get back to that one.
because I think he didn't get it when on the question that we were going to do it. So-
We'll stick it on another one. So we'll put it on we'll find a place. We'll find a place for it, Jim. If you are, we'll find a place for that. I think it was on the previous follow-up, but we'll find a place for it. I think it fits in a couple areas. If you are a successful candidate, how would you develop your entry plan and prepare for your first few weeks, months, and your first year? Whom would you consider to be essential sources of information, critical friends, and strategic allies?
Well, I have already put a 30, 60, 90 plan together, just so that I could plan it for myself and look at it and design it. My first 30 days would be a listening tour, making sure that I am accessible to the community and all the stakeholders, especially to teachers, parents, staff. The executive assistant to the superintendent of schools is critical. That person is a critical member of my team. They're your right hand, your left hand, your best friend, your only friend throughout the day, throughout the night. They're the ones that know where you're at. They've got your cell phone. They know they're carrying your cell phone at times. They're answering your phone. She's doing something. She'll get back to you in a few minutes. Principals, the school committee, people of our towns, police chief, fire chief, DPW. Bless you. Everybody becomes a stakeholder. Everybody's part of the village, and everybody needs to be represented in some way, somehow. And so I find myself going out, talking to people, listening, and understanding where I need to go forward. My principals, my directors, And the executive assistant to the superintendent is key to moving forward.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Across the different levels of the district, describe how you will know whether professional development programs and initiatives have affected the knowledge, skills, and practices of educators in the district.
I think you can't live without a robust professional development academy. You need a group of teachers from each building representing each building, each grade, each discipline. And they come together just like as a school committee, as the committee, as a professional development committee. People from each building come forward with what they would like for professional development. The curriculum, the director of curriculum and myself will talk about what needs to happen in the classroom, where we have our strengths, where we have our weaknesses, and what we can support. We come together, we bring it to the Professional Development Academy, and we move and direct what we believe, what our teachers believe needs to happen in the classroom, what we think should happen to raise student achievement, to raise assessment scores, to help with student achievement, whether it's and for growth assessment. How would I know that that's happening in each building? Because we're meeting monthly with that committee, but we're also evaluating. We're in and out of classrooms. We're looking to see, our principals are evaluating. They're letting us know if we're seeing it. We're looking at assessments. We're looking at our data. We're looking at our growth of our students. We want to see our students grow. We want to see growth from the beginning of the year to, 6 weeks into the year, to 8 weeks of the year, to 10 weeks in the year. We want to look at where do we have to pivot on our instructional strategies in the classrooms by using data. So we pivot, may go in a different direction, may slow down, may accelerate. And between the director of curriculum and myself, we'll be out and about. We'll be looking at this, talking to teacher leaders, talking to teachers themselves, talking to principals, making sure that what we're doing in the classroom is raising and is supporting our students and their needs.
This may be where you want to put
I was just going to say, Jim, are you up there?
I remember the question if you want me to go.
Well, I think he wants to hear the answer, that's the thing.
Oh.
We can put him in the next one too. I think it can get into there too. Anybody else? Oh, there you are, Jim. Jim, go ask your question.
Okay, I'll try again. Okay, where is he? What are the kinds of things you want our kindergartners to know 12 years from now?
Well, seeing that things change on a daily basis, I want them to be productive members of society. I want them to have a skill set that they are resilient. They carry grit with them. That they can handle controversy, that they can understand the political acumen of a playing field, and they can continue to move forward. The skill sets that I want them to have, I think things are going to change. I think that as we develop the vision of the graduate, we look at our students and we say, what do we want our students to know and be able to do when they graduate? I want them to be college and career ready. But in 12 years from now, it may be more technology. It may be based. Life is changing, ever changing. I want our district and our teachers to be able to change, along with our students, and to be able to offer them what is needed for practical skills when they graduate, and to offer them to be college and career ready. Things are on a continuum and continue to change on a daily basis, but there are skills that we need. Kids need to become adaptable. They need to be able to move. They need to be resilient. I think we do a great job at that in schools. Kids need to be able to be persuasive in the way they construct when they have conversations, and adaptable.
All set, Jim?
Thank you.
Okay.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay, who do you see is the most critical stakeholders for the public schools in our community? And we do have 3 minutes and 3 questions still.
All right, critical stake, our parents, our community members. It takes a village to raise a child. Everybody is a critical member of the stakeholders when it comes to kids. Because we need them to succeed. We need to help them become productive members of society.
Okay, are we all set on that?
I'm assuming there's not time, that's where my follow-up was supposed to
Okay.
go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll abbreviate. Given regional school districts require strong collaboration, how would you build trust, transparency, and shared ownership among all of these stakeholders?
Yeah. Again, conversation, going out, talking, telling the story, what we're doing here, having conversations on a daily basis, making sure that we get information out in a timely fashion. We're not holding anything back. We let people come in and talk to us. If a question arises, we let them know the answers. If I don't know the answer, I always say, I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you. You're better off saying that than coming out with something that you don't know anything about, because that's what's going to get you in trouble. So having conversations, having town hall meetings, per se, being out in the public and making sure that people understand what we're doing, and creating a trust amongst us that we're working together, we're rowing in the same direction, one team, one goal, one district. Just because we have different buildings, just because we have different towns, it's the same district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Describe a time when some of the members of the school board committee in your district disagreed with a decision you made.
We worked really hard at being a team. And we had professional development with MASC several times to make sure that when the superintendent and the school committee may have disagreed in a situation, we figured out how to hash it out in a respectful manner. I would talk to the chair. Obviously, there's open meeting laws. You're a member of the school committee when you're sworn in and you're at the school committee. We really shouldn't talk business when you're getting a coffee and I'm getting a coffee. That's not our roles. We can be friendly and we can say, geez, I didn't realize, that bus accident happened yesterday. Yeah, it happened. I'll talk to the chair later and she'll get back to you, or he'll get back to you. I didn't really disagree. We followed the strategic plan, and the strategic plan was built by myself, the staff, and the school committee. So when you follow the plan, you stick to the plan, and you shouldn't have any real issues. And that's really, when you stick to the plan and you all were on the plan, you shouldn't have any issues. So there shouldn't be any disagreements. And I would hope, I would call the chair, say, geez, there's something wrong right now. I need to talk to you, so the chair could get back to everybody. Or if someone on the school committee had a problem, that they would tell the chair, this is what we heard, and they would call me, and we would make sure that if there was an issue, I would get that to the chair, and I would let them know what it was. But I never had an issue like that. I didn't have a disagreement like that.
11 kind of is the same thing as 12 and pretty much explained what she just said. So, 11 is 10. So I'm wondering if we should, in matter of time, just skip to 12. Yeah?
I'm in favor.
Yeah. Okay.
So she has time to.
So you have time to answer. Why did you leave your prior district?
Because we sat down, the school chair and I decided that I was there for 10 years. I had a 3-year contract, a 5-year contract, and then they asked me to stay for another 5 years. Going into my 10th year, a service to East Bridgewater Public School. We just sat down and the school committee had changed. It wasn't the same school committee that gave me the additional 5, and we thought that I wanted to pursue in a different direction, and they wanted to go in a different direction, and we sat down, and we were amicable. They paid me out for a year of my contract, and there was no cause, there was no discipline action, there is no letter to my file, there is nothing. There is, you go your way and we'll go yours. Could we have more fights in those situations? Sure, but to do that, I built that school district when it was $2.2 million in the hole. And for 10 years, I never had a problem. So at the end of 10 years, or 9 years and 9 3/4 years, we sat down and we just said, you go your way and I'll go mine. And I didn't want to bring the kids through that because I brought that school district back. Because it was great to be a Viking. I coined that phrase, and it's still great to be a Viking. So.
Any questions?
Any questions? Jim or Nancy?
No.
Okay.
Can she give like a 2-minute closing?
Yeah, closing remarks.
You got about 2 minutes.
Did he have a question?
No, he said no question. Did you have a question, Jim?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if
All
you'd
set?
like to make a closing.
Sure.
Are you, as your share of a closing statement, is there something we haven't discussed that we should know about your candidacy for this position? Do you have questions of us?
No. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I think it's very important that you're involved. This is it's a critical position for the district and for your towns and for the community. I had a great time. I never thought this was going to be the diamond in the rough that I told Liz LaFond this evening. I came out here, it was a dark horse for me, and I can't tell you how amazing I thought the kids were today, walking around your buildings, and seeing how excited you all are to be part of this district. And that's so important for me. Your principals were excited. Your director of curriculum was terrific today. She took me around the school committee members who were with me today. Oh, thank you. I had a terrific time. It's rural. It's small with a big heart. And you got great things going on. Don't look back, look forward, continue to move due north, because this place is tremendous. And walking around, I was very excited to even have the opportunity to come and talk to you. So I want to thank all of you, and thanks for coming out tonight, I appreciate that. And thank you all, and if you have any follow-ups for me, I'm right here. But other than that, thank you very much. I know it's a long night, a long day. You've been with me since 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock this morning, so thank you. The food was good, thank you. The cookies were great. Thank you very much.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz, can we take like 5 minutes?
You know this gentleman, this is Brian Ricca, your next candidate.
Have an opening statement, if that's okay?
Well,
Or
that is.
I think you know everybody here.
You don't need us to
I don't,
introduce ourselves,
unless you want
right?
to go through it for the sake of the group, but I'm okay. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm truly grateful for my time so far serving the Southern Berkshire community. Over these past months, I've had the privilege of working alongside dedicated students, faculty, and staff. And I've been deeply appreciative of the support and encouragement many of you have shared with me throughout this process. My leadership has always been and always will be centered on relationships, trust, and doing what's best for students. I believe strong schools are built through collaboration, accountability, and keeping students at the heart of every decision. That's the approach I bring to this work every day, and it's what excites me most about continuing to serve you here in Southern Berkshire.
Are we ready? What have you done to prepare yourself for the superintendency? What are the strengths that you bring to the position? What would be your personal professional development plan were you to become our superintendent?
Could you read the second part after prepare for the superintendency?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to not to sneeze.
It's okay, it's all right.
What would be your personal professional development plan were you to become? Do you want me to just read the whole question?
I think you should, because he
Okay.
asked about the second, and you
Yeah.
went the
What
third.
have you done to prepare yourself for the superintendency? What are the strengths that you bring to the position? What would be your personal professional development plan were you to become our superintendent?
Okay, so to prepare, I've been on a 5-month-plus job interview with all of you folks serving as your interim. I feel I've prepared myself by being present to the faculty and staff, present to the students, communicating consistently, putting students at the front of every decision. I believe my strengths are in leading and working with people, specifically meeting them where they are at and encouraging them to grow with me. I would love to do, if I was to earn the position, a full entry plan. Because I joined Southern Berkshire in mid to late August, the new superintendent's induction program had already started in July, and they have those folks that joined in July begin an entry plan, which takes them through the first 6 months that I couldn't catch up on because I'd missed a bunch of the summer months. I think that answered all of them, I think. Personal development plan, yeah, that was the last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? No? Seeing none? Have you reviewed our programming for Southern Berkshire Regional School District? How do you think you can support, improve existing programs, and what other programming ideas do you have that may help round out our students' education?
Yes, I love the programming here in Southern Berkshire, from the senior lunch to the Transcend Partnership, specifically focusing on agency, to the early college, to, again, I'll say Transcend because we saw a group of them today. I think the notion that a student can walk up to an adult in this building and say, hey, X really blows my hair back, will you work with me on that? It's one of the strengths of a smaller district where you can be nimble and better meet the individual needs of the students. I offered in my cover letter, personal statement, I'm not sure what it was called, to enhance the work around agriculture, which I credited Ms. Alcantara and Mr. Bataki for lighting me in a conversation at the MASC conference, which was inspired by a student who is no longer a student at our middle school because we don't have enough agricultural offerings for him. So I think that's, yeah, I think that answers the question.
Any questions?
Jim, I don't know.
Jim, Nancy, any? Okay.
I actually have a follow-up on that.
Okay.
Just, sorry about that. Just within our programming, within the wider curriculum, are there things that stand out to you? You know, you name specific programs, but what about the day-to-day?
Man, I love that I can eat lunch with middle and high school students. I love that I get spoiled once or twice a week by Ms. Gott expanding my waistline with something that I probably wouldn't have if it weren't being offered to me by students. I love that I can get on the floor in a daycare room or a pre-K room and learn alongside some of our highest achieving students in the high school. It's a real gift to be here and to be a part of this community. And I never fail to be impressed by what I see, whether it's academically or person to person or at our leadership team table.
Thank you.
Okay, special education is a particular challenge because of the complexity of rules, service needs, and student and parent concerns. When you assess the effectiveness of your special education programs, what are some of the criteria you use?
Progress towards IEP goals is the first one. But even if the goal hasn't been met, the quality of the relationship between the special educators, the regular education teachers, and the families. I sometimes think, and I haven't been in an IEP meeting in this district, so I can't speak to it, I sometimes think just by the nature of the special education programming itself through IDEA, it makes us look at the weaknesses, the deficiencies, as opposed to the strengths. I have some dear friends still in Vermont whose kiddo went through the special education process, and they often lamented to me after it was over, Ricca, all we talked about was what my little so-and-so can't do. Where's the strengths-based approach? And I think that's really important, that we are talking about the things that a child who's eligible for a 504 or special education can do, not just the areas that they're deficient. Because more often than not, when a human is deficient in one area, they have really great strengths in another.
Any questions? Nancy, Jim? How do you ensure that all students across multiple towns and school buildings have equitable access to the academic opportunities, special education services, enrichment, and social emotional supports?
By asking their teachers. Conversations with the adults are what ensure that students have what they need. Teachers are the best judge of what's going on in their classrooms. And in my 30 years in education, I've yet to meet a teacher who isn't honest about something that they need when it comes to advocating for their students. Obviously, it goes through principals and the leadership team. But even with 3 campuses, I think spending time in each building will ensure that folks feel heard. And when folks ask, if the answer is no, sharing an honest rationale for why, and not sugarcoating it. I think sometimes we feel that the word no is hard to hear, and it is. If you ask a question, if you need something, you want to hear yes. But I think it's just as important that we trust the adults who are entrusted with educating our students for understanding sometimes when the answer is no.
Any follow-ups? Okay, number 5, and I think we have a follow-up on this question or two. The citizens in our community demand value for their tax dollars and transparency and fiscal accountability. In this light, tell us how you have ensured that the budget you propose and financial plan that you oversee, as approved by the school committee, is as compact and efficient as possible. How do you develop the district budget process? Whose input do you solicit in developing the budget? What has been your history working with municipal officials like a town manager, finance committee, city council, or mayor in supporting your budget?
All right, so the first part talks about value and fiscal accountability. The second part talks about process and what else?
Okay, how do you develop the district budget proposal? Well, actually, so let me read it one more time. The citizens in our community demand value for their tax dollars and transparency in fiscal accountability.
Okay.
In this, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so just to date, what we have done is have conversations at the leadership team level to ensure that the budget we've put forth so far, which is only by department and by school, is compact and efficient, and we did that transparently, one by one. Each department, from Mr. Thompson through and including Mr. King in athletics, and everybody in between, had time in the superintendent's office to review what they asked for last year and what they're asking for this year. If it was the same, we asked why. If it was a little more, we asked why. If it was a little less, we asked why. And then confirming those numbers with them, we brought them forward to the Finance Committee, where each member did the exact same thing as they did in our office, my office. If it was a little bit more, Mr. Thompson said why. So that's how we made it compact and efficient as possible. We all know that it's the human beings that actually cost the money in this district, that it's the salaries and benefits are the largest portion of every dollar spent towards educating the humans in this district. Okay, how do you develop the district budget proposal? One department at a time and collaboratively with a consensus base. Sandy Hubbard, Director of Student Services, has shown us some data that indicates we might need more FTEs in special education. We had a conversation around that, not just the data, but what the actual impact would be. Whose input do you solicit in developing the budget? Every human in this district, every human in this building. The principals met with their departments. The departments came and met with us. The department heads asked the members of their departments what they needed in their budget. We met with, man, I'm going to forget who it was, but somebody came into my office and said, this is the first time I've had an opportunity to present my budget to the superintendent. So we take in any kind of feedback. What has been your history working with municipal officials like town manager, finance committee, city council, or mayor in supporting your budget? So in Vermont, the budget system was slightly different. School boards were empowered to put their own budget out to vote at town meeting day. So in town meeting day in Vermont, the school board had their budget on the ballot, the town had their budget on the ballot. If they both passed, put your hands together, that's your new tax rate. We had a finance committee though, so all of our work went kind of like here, through the finance committee, to the larger school committee, and then ultimately out to the voters. In Rhode Island, it was more an appropriation. So in East Greenwich, the town council appropriated X number of dollars or a percentage of their dollars to the school. So it was a lot of work with not just the finance committee of the school committee in East Greenwich, but with the finance committee, town manager, and town council in East Greenwich itself. And I mean, in particular, I can point to the fact that while I was in East Greenwich, we passed a $155 million school construction bond successfully to renovate 5 schools, close another, and improve the teaching and learning spaces there. That was a total team effort. There was even a special school construction committee that was made up of both folks on the town side and the school side. Yeah, all right.
You want to do yours, Bonnie?
Yeah. Interested in knowing about your statewide involvement in the budget arena.
Sure.
Particularly advocating in terms of our issues related to Chapter 70,
Sure.
handling issues like circuit breaker,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
aid,
Yeah.
et cetera, and connections that you may have made or feel you would need to make
Sure.
on a statewide level.
Sure. So I'll give a tip of the hat to Nancy, wherever she is back there, who has put me in touch with people that I can advocate for in terms of rural aid. I go through the Berkshire County Superintendents Association in terms of our I guess it's monthly meetings at this point. And a bunch of folks at Mass have availed themselves to me, including a lot of folks in the new superintendent's induction program. When I was in Vermont, where I've spent the bulk of my superintendency, I was advocating in Montpelier on a regular basis. Folks sometimes I think got a little tired of me. And so, I would be happy to continue that if I were to earn the position here, working with local legislators here, and if need be, taking a little trip to Boston to have those in-person conversations to say, this is important too. Don't forget about us over here, because we got great things going on in the Berkshires. And invite them out and show them in person what we actually have going on.
And have you started any of that?
I haven't started that yet, no. I mean, as you know, we're a little bit behind, just getting our FY25 up and running. I think it's not going to come as a galloping shock to anybody that we're going to go pretty much with a close budget like we did last year. But I would be happy to talk to anybody about the great things that are happening here and tell them that they should put some more in the coffers for rural aid, because there are great things that are happening here. And I don't think that's coming as a shock to any of you. It's a really special place.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
It's my follow-up, and then it's Nancy. So our district is out of the box on some of our finances to try to save our town's money. One of the things is we've applied for windows and door grants. We've also used ESSER funds for renovation of our HVAC system, which was pretty expensive, so that we didn't have to pass it off to the towns. In your last districts, can you tell me what you did with your ESSER money and what kind of grants and funding you have previously applied for in those districts? To
Sure.
help with capital, let me clarify, to
For
help
what?
with capital.
I'm sorry?
To help with capital.
Oh, sure. Okay, so East Greenwich, because of its socioeconomic status, got very little in terms of ESSER funds. St. Johnsbury got a substantial amount. I'm trying to think of what we spent it on. We did boy, you're really testing my memory tonight. I know that we worked to make sure that it went to infrastructure and not to humans, because obviously if you put it to humans, it's going to just have to go in the local budget. In Montpelier, in St. Johnsbury, and as I mentioned also with East Greenwich, we passed school construction bonds in each of those 3 districts successfully. In terms of grants, I can't think of anything specific around grants that our districts applied for outside, and I think because each district had a successful school construction bond, that's where the resources went to. Yeah.
So you didn't use any ESSER on any human beings?
I'm trying to remember, Kim. I don't remember what we did in St. Johnsbury 6 years ago, candidly.
Go ahead, Carl. Oh, wait, Nancy, and then Carl.
Okay.
What have you come to understand about rural aid? What do you understand about rural aid and the inequity between how it's distributed in the eastern part of the state and western part of the state?
That we certainly need more. I mean, I remember our conversation, Nancy, when we were at the MASC conference. You were trying to get our new secretary to come out here and make more of a commitment to rural aid. I know that we currently use a good portion of our rural aid to fund the Transcend program. And I certainly know that it seems as though once you get, I would say, west of potentially Worcester, there seems to be, how can I say this charitably, less attention paid to the districts that are in this portion of the state, which is why, to Bonnie's point, I would be happy to be the squeaky wheel that reminds as many people as necessary that we're here and that great things are happening.
Carl?
Good evening, Dr. Ricca.
Good evening, Mr. Stewart.
The Southern Berkshire Regional School District has a per pupil cost that is in the top 15% of all school districts in the Commonwealth. Boston Latin, which is pretty universally acknowledged to be the best high school in the Commonwealth, has a per pupil cost of about 20% less than ours. At some point, there might be a taxpayer revolt against those, regarding those numbers. Do you have any thoughts on what you could do to bring our per pupil cost more in line with the average in Massachusetts?
I would hesitate to offer something, Mr. Stewart, because I would want to know what the community's thoughts are first.
Pardon, can you?
I said I would hesitate to offer what I would do because I haven't had a conversation with any member of the faculty or staff here or any community member. I was asked today when I was at New Marlborough what I thought about the status of the New Marlborough school. And my response was the same. What does the community think? I think there's excellent teaching and learning happening there. If the costs are too high, put me in a room with people and let's hear what folks would offer. Because for me, if there really is a revolt, then let's get ahead of it. Let's start the conversations now and let's figure out what we can do to head that off. If there's excellent teaching and learning happening in our 3 buildings, which I can attest to there is, and if we're promising our teachers and humans 3% over the next 2 years per the collective bargaining agreement, we should start having those conversations sooner rather than later if that's too expensive for our communities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? What does strong school-based leadership mean to you as an administrative issue and learning strategy? What is the proper balance between school-based management, center office supervision, and school committee policy making and oversight?
All right. So I'm going to take it backwards through. I trust school committee policy making and oversight to be the governance structure that we follow in Southern Berkshire Regional School District. From your policy manuals to your handbook and any other documents that you've agreed to collectively as a group. Those are the things I reference. For example, I got a question today from our bus company about a student requesting a special accommodation, let's say. And the first place I went to was the transportation manual. Transportation policy in the policy manual. So I seek school policy making and oversight as our governance. The other portion of this program is the operational work. And I will say school-based leadership means to me that Kate and Jesse, along with Julie and Jane, are the experts in their buildings. And I trust, because we've established a good relationship thus far, that they will continue to come to me and say, hey, Ricca, this isn't working, can we talk? Hey, Ricca, can we talk about this? Central office supervision means sitting down at the leadership team table once a week and having the hard conversations about what we see and what's going on in our buildings. And they are just that, conversations. Just because I sit at the top of the food chain doesn't mean I have any special powers into any insight that someone at that leadership team table might have. I shared this with somebody during my day today. One of the ways I know for a fact I will screw up my marriage is if I try to read my wife's mind. And I've been married to her for, it'll be 22 years in June, and the anniversary of our first date will be 26 years in October. If I can't read her mind, there's no way I can read the mind of the people that I work with. And so I make it a point to not do that. But I make it a point to build relationships with people who can tell me, I need help with this. Obviously, if I see behavior, I'm going to address it. And I'm proud that I know how to have the hard conversations with adults in a way that makes them recognize that I'm talking about their behavior and not who they are as a person. I think I got all of those. Yes.
Any follow-ups? If you are our successful candidate, how would you develop your entry plan and prepare for your first few weeks, months, your first year? Whom would you consider to be essential sources of information, critical friends, and strategic allies?
So I will tell you, NISIP has a great first-year entry plan that I would lean on heavily. My coach has already mentioned to me that if I earn the position, she would help me backtrack it for this year and then start an official one for next year. So I'd be able to jump right in. There would be one word as part of that entry plan, and that is listen. And then I would listen again, and then I would listen some more. Certainly the 9 of you, well, the 7 of you that are here, the 2 of you that are there, would be essential sources of information. Anybody who cared about Southern Berkshire Regional School District, whether an alum, whether a current employee, whether a former employee, I saw him over there, where a former superintendent, folks who care about what happens in this building, I would be welcome to hear. I'd love to get back out to the towns. I know we promised that, and it never happened this year. I'd love to get into each of the towns, have a coffee hour or two, and listen to folks there. Obviously, I want to keep listening to teachers. Obviously, I want to keep listening to staff here. Obviously, I want to keep listening to students. It would still be a listening tour for folks to share what's working and what's not working if I were to earn this position.
Anybody? Nancy, Jim? Across the different levels of what? Yes, Jim?
Okay, can I ask my question then?
Oh, just go ahead, yeah. I think it'll fit.
My question, Brian, is what are the kinds of things you want our kindergartners to know 12 years from now? I've always thought that superintendents should be visionaries.
I want our kindergartners to know 12 years from now that they can have a conversation with somebody who does not believe the same things that they believe, and that they can still learn from that person. I think we are in one of the most polarized times in our country's history, and one of the only ways we're going to see our way through it is by teaching our children from the mistakes that the adults are making to this very day. And I truly believe that. If we are able to do that, we will have taught them just as much as all the MCAS standards, as all the Mass State standards, as all the work in Transcend, all the work in early college, hopefully an agricultural program that we get up and running. But I really think that kindergartners in 12 or 13 years need to know that they can learn something from somebody who believes something different from them.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Great question, Jim.
Anybody else? Jim, Nancy? Okay. Who do you see as the most official stakeholders for the public school?
I think you skipped number 8.
Did I?
Yep.
I have nothing written, let's put it that way. It's
Okay.
blank.
Oh, yeah.
You skipped
that was a
number
follow-
8.
It's all right, it's getting
follow-up.
late.
Jim got me confused on the follow-up.
All right.
Across the different levels of the district, describe how you will know whether professional development programs and initiatives have affected the knowledge, skill, and practices of educators in the district.
By asking them, and then by asking for some sort of data to demonstrate the reality of their answer. I like to think of myself as an educator who is learner-centered and data-informed. So talking to the folks about the professional development that we're offering, asking them ahead of time what they need, and trying to fill those gaps in. I would no longer try to presume what this collective group of faculty and staff needs for professional development in a similar way that I wouldn't ask them to predict what I'm looking for in terms of professional development. Obviously, there are things that we have to do on an annual basis, and there are the basics that we have to keep up with. But I've mentioned this in the past, if we're going to offer our students a real track of agency, we have to do the same thing for our adults. Our adults have to feel like when they say, hey, I'm really in need of this in terms of professional development, if we're able to do it, we take the steps in order to do that. Agency shouldn't just be something that we focus on for our young people. It should be something that we are offering and being meaningful in our offers and approaches for our adults, because they've been learning all of their lives. They've been transforming their educational practices from 6 years ago in COVID to now with so much more emphasis on social emotional learning. It really is one of the hardest professions ever. And it's only getting harder because the demands towards our teachers and our staff are only growing, not shrinking.
Whom do you see as the most critical stakeholders for the public schools in our community?
I mean, I think that's anyone who has a stake in our community. Obviously, starting with the 9 of you who have committed to a thankless job, that have been elected by those who you have gotten signatures from and then campaigned in front of. Obviously, our faculty and staff who do this work on a daily basis under conditions that are charitably challenging, realistically demanding, and sometimes unending. Our students who are partaking of this, who we want to go out and be successful young people when they graduate, regardless of what they do with that, whether it's a job, whether it's military, whether it's working on their family's farm, whether it's college. Alumni, community members. I mean, the list goes on and on. This is public education. I think I've shared with you as a school committee, I heard this stat that in May of last year, so in May of 25, for the first time ever, streaming outranked traditional cable and over-the-air television, meaning more people are watching programs on their devices than they are sitting around a community program. Public schools are perhaps the last place that communities come to and rally behind as a common good. I mean, you can be 4 people in a home watching 4 different things on 4 different devices. I don't want to sound too Leave It to Beaver, but Thursday nights in my house, before we found out he was a little bit of a creep, if I had my worldly wise words done, we all sat down and watched The Cosby Show. That's not happening. And public schools are one of the last places where public can come for common good. Anyone who's committed to that is a critical stakeholder, as far as I'm concerned.
So I have a follow-up? Yeah. So given regional school districts require strong collaboration, how would you build trust, transparency, and shared ownership among all of our stakeholders?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I would start with, I had offered this as part of a conversation I had had recently, and I'm not sure where, bringing back a monthly or quarterly or some kind of meeting of all 5 towns with the manager, mayor, select board chair, superintendent, school committee members, and just having a conversation. Making sure that folks are aware of our calendar. Michelle, wherever she is in here, has been great about ensuring, where'd you go? There you are. Has been, really great about ensuring that all 5 towns are getting updated calendars. Here's when the finance committee meetings are. Here's where the school committee meetings are. And inviting them to come and going to them. Like I said earlier, sitting down in all 5 towns at some point, putting up a sign and saying, here, the superintendent's here, come sit, I'll buy you a cup of coffee, what's on your mind? And then talking about what education looks like in 2026 in our buildings in a way that feels genuine and authentic, and bridges the gap, recognizing that what we're doing today in 2026 today is different than when I was last a full-time teacher. What we're doing today is different than what we were doing in 2019 pre-COVID, and that the demands of teachers just continue to go up as opposed to go down. And still that what we're doing has value to this community, to all 5 communities, because we're giving them the gift of a public education at a price that, even if Mr. Stewart's numbers are correct, and I have no reason to doubt that they're not, are in the top 15% of the Commonwealth. I would say there are things here that are in the top 10% of the Commonwealth, because I see things happening here that I haven't seen elsewhere in 30 years in education across 3 states. So it's having those kinds of conversations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Describe a time when some or all members of the school board committee in your district disagreed with the decision you made.
We had a really challenging time in East Greenwich around the implementation of some of the state mandated curriculum. That was an approach that I think could have gone better. I can say that.
Can you elaborate?
I will say, I could have done more in meeting people where they are. I will own that. I could have done more in meeting people where they were, I guess, is the best way to put that.
Even though it was a state mandated?
And that's right, so that's
what-
that's where that's a good point, Julie. That's kind of where I was too.
Oh, okay.
Like a follow-up? Kind of piggybacking off that question, have you ever done something without the school committee's permission that needed a school committee's permission?
I did. I moved forward ESSER funding in St. Johnsbury that should have had school committee approval that didn't.
And what was that for?
I believe it was raises for the employees in the school district.
Raises or stipends?
I believe we gave them raises.
So you moved ESSER funds for employees forward without permission. So you said ESSER money on personnel.
We didn't hire new people, we spent the money on, but we didn't hire anybody new, it was just for the staff that we had.
Thank you. Any other questions? No?
I actually have a follow-up on that. Just the difference between stipend and raises. If it was raises, then that would have impacted a future salary versus a stipend would be a one-time
So,
thing.
it was a stipend, you're right, thank you.
Yeah,
It was a
just thinking
stipend.
about
Yep.
those two
Yep,
two
thank you.
words.
Thank you for
Just to
clarifying.
clarify,
Yep,
wait,
yep.
Administration.
Yep.
which was that?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Did that include administration and the superintendent himself?
I believe it did.
Thank you. Okay. Any other follow-ups, Julie?
Nope, that was it.
The roles and responsibility of school committees and superintendents are sometimes clear and sometimes ambiguous. How do you keep your committee informed? In particular, with what is your strategy around the issues that are your responsibility, but where the school committee may have an interest? What has been their response and feedback?
So I keep this school committee informed by regular communication, and that's been clear since I started here. My communication strategy is you folks get it first, and then it goes to faculty and staff, and then it goes to families. Strategy around issues that are my responsibility, but where the school committee may have an interest. I do try to over-communicate and tell you more than what you perhaps necessarily need, so that there aren't questions of that. That said, I'm always open for folks to, I think I almost end every single message that I send you folks with. If you have a specific question, please feel welcome to follow up directly with me to avoid the open meeting law conversation violation. I've had very good response and feedback from folks. I pride myself on being a good communicator for school committee and for the general school district population. It's something I'm really proud of.
Any questions? Nancy? Jim? Okay. Why did you leave your prior... Oh, wait, okay, Jim, you have a question? Or do you say no question?
No question.
Okay, thank you. Why did you leave your prior district?
Yeah, so everybody knows
Districts.
there was a
It's plural.
vote
Sorry.
of no confidence against me in East Greenwich, which precipitated my departure. My family moved, which was the reason that we left St. Johnsbury. We moved to southern New England, and there was a change in leadership in the Montpelier-Roxbury School Committee, and that necessitated a separation agreement.
Any questions? Nancy, Jim? But yeah, I got that. I'm so tired right now. Any questions? Okay. Let's see, so I can go on to the last one. As you share your closing statement, is there something we haven't discussed that we should know about your candidacy for the position? Do you have questions for us?
I don't have any questions for you, but my closing statement is going to be relatively simple. Don't overcomplicate leadership, and that's certainly what I plan to do. All we have to do is take care of people. Simon Sinek, who is the founder of the Optimism Company, and whose work I resonate with deeply, says that community is simply a group of people who agree to grow together. And so I hope I have the opportunity to continue to grow with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Do we need to stand up and walk around again? That's up to you. Do you guys want to stand up and walk around for a minute?
No?
Anybody out there want to stand up and walk around?
Just that.
Okay.
Deliberation and offer to the candidate pending successful contract negotiation.
I think everybody has notes on both candidates.
Glenn and I did some reference checking,
Thank you.
and here is a summary.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Can you email those to Nancy and Jim, possibly?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Did you forward those to Jim then?
Yes, I
Oh,
I already
thank
asked
you.
her.
I don't see it.
I think she's doing it right now,
She's
Jim.
working
Hold
on it, Jim.
I need time, I couldn't hear you.
She's doing it right now.
So you probably didn't hear this, Nancy and Jim, but Glenn and I both did some reference checking here. I did checking with regard to the references provided, and Glenn dove a little deeper. Because he loves to do that kind of stuff.
Should we read these out loud? No? Okay.
probably want to hear from the folks who accompanied the candidates around the district. Candidates. Is it candidates plural?
Well, I read, so may I?
Well, we just got these. Can we finish reading?
Well, no, I was going to speak while you were reading.
No,
Not-
I want to
no.
be able to
I
hear,
wanna
I'm
hear what
sorry.
you have to
Sorry.
say.
No,
But I want,
no.
Okay. Do you need water?
Nope.
Okay. You better hang in there, I don't want to postpone anymore.
Liz, where some of the statements are repeated, does that mean more than one person said the same thing? Or is that just,
Yeah, that's two people putting their heads together and
yeah.
probably how it happened.
Yeah, there's parts on Brian Ricca's where
Right.
it's almost verbatim repeated, and I'm like, what happened here?
That's how
I-
my boss writes, and,
Okay,
you know, I don't like to change.
so it's still the same summary, just not necessarily two people, okay.
we ask Liz questions regarding,
I guess so, I think so, right?
can we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in deliberation.
Okay. So, may I?
Go ahead.
So Liz, in looking at the recommendation for Liz, it's absolutely outstanding all the way through. There seem to be no downside questions, whereas what you have for Brian is,
So Liz, I conducted Liz's reference checks. Liz sent me a sheet of about 16 people. For the sake of time, I went through and selected school committee member, community member, principal, teacher who was also in the union leadership, and a parent.
How many in total did you count? How many in total? Five.
Five. And so, as you might imagine, I actually found it interesting that people said a lot of the same things about her in terms of the community that she created and how she collaborated and was transparent. But I can assure you, they were 5 different people. And as you might imagine, when somebody provides you with references to check, you typically hear the best of the best. You're not going to provide someone's name who's not going to say nice things about you. On the other side of that, because Glenn and I are sharing work in a couple of districts, he took on Mr. Ricca's reference checks, and he did a little bit more. I provided him what I had for Liz Legault. He read that, and he made some other contacts, and basically said he didn't have anything else to add to it other than what I had in there.
To Liz's?
Yes.
He had nothing else. And what about Brian? How, because if you look aside from, as Julie pointed out, a lot of repetition, it's much weaker.
Say that louder, Bonnie.
Much weaker.
Weaker?
It's the only way I could phrase
I
it.
wouldn't say that to my boss, but that was his take on the reference check side.
And who did he contact?
He contacted the references listed in the application, and then he reached out to some other folks in the field to ask some sort of more probing questions.
Okay.
People don't necessarily pick up the phone for Liz LaFawn from Massachusetts, right? But when they hear that Glenn Preacher, the executive director of MASC, is calling, they typically call back, so we took that up.
Any other questions?
Carl?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Arthur, simply because, not simply because, but because you are the chair. Deliberation means that each of us, this is a question. It's not a statement that I claim to be accurate, but I assume that deliberation means that the 9 of us, there are 9 of us who are here either by Zoom or actually here, can discuss the candidates and presumably the process that by which they're here and what we think about the process. Liz, I see Liz is shaking her head. Liz is primus inter pares. So can if that's the case, can I say something about this?
Yeah.
I'm disturbed by the process. I'm disturbed by a number of things about the process. One, this is a good job. Pays a fair amount of money. It's got to be in the upper couple of % of people in Massachusetts.
Western Mass, anyway.
In Western Mass, right. Yeah, I think the CEO of Wayfair makes something like $18 million a year, but that's
That's in the stratosphere. But so I'm worried by the fact that we have only two candidates. Two candidates that reached final status. And I also think,
I'll answer why afterwards.
okay, yeah, and I welcome your answer as to why. So we only have two, and I think that if we rejected both, let's say, which is a possibility, I don't think it'll happen, but it's a possibility that we would reject both. I don't think that if, and this is just me, I mean, I could be very wrong about this, that if we started the search all over, it wouldn't yield a different result. And we are now coming up to our budget season. We have a lot of work to do, in addition to our other work, which is a lot of work. I think that since community members show up very, very infrequently to school committee meetings, they're here today because they feel they have a vested interest. They were here en masse in contract negotiations for the union, but in general, no one is here. Very few people pay attention to the day-to-day workings of the school committee. Since I've mentioned the people here, I was not happy with to me, and this is my view, and I don't claim that it reflects the view of anybody else, but the orchestrated support of one of the candidates by people who I think knew very little about the other candidate. That, to me, was premature, and I think it was orchestrated, and I don't like that. I received a letter, which the other members of the school committee received, by one of the people supporting Dr. Ricca, who said, among other things, in his letter, the school committee should not subvert the democratic process. Now, this is what we're doing now. This is the democratic process. The school committee determines who the superintendent is. If the 9 members of the school committee choose a superintendent who is opposed by all, what was the number? 7,000 other people among the 5 towns? Would we be subverting democracy? Well, in a sense, yes, but in another sense, no. It's our job. That's what we do. I mean, we do other things, but that's one of the things we do. So, we need a new superintendent. So I am conflicted because we need a new superintendent. You're going to answer this question as soon as I'm finished. And I tend to be way too wordy, and this is another example of it. But, so I think, I feel in an unfortunate position of probably having to make a decision tonight, which I will be less than comfortable with. That's it. Thank you for bearing with me.
So now I'll answer.
Okay.
So there was a committee that met. Search committee. It had 17 members. 19. Well, I'm doing really bad at this. I forgot because we added Bruce at the end. Alfred, yes. It was brought up to a vote.
Carl wasn't able to.
No, Carl was not able to be there, but Alfred did have representation. So it was brought to the vote of 4 candidates. Several of us asked to have 3 move forward. We were voted down. The general consensus of the committee, they only wanted 2. So it went through its democratic process, and these are the 2 candidates that had the most votes from the individuals on the committee.
Can I ask a follow-up question of
Yes,
you?
you can.
long as we don't breach the confidentiality.
Yes, and that's why I can't tell who, what, when, where.
Oh, no,
but
no, no,
that's
no,
the
I
process.
won't ask that.
Thank you. I knew you wouldn't. Just wanted to-
I'm just perplexed by why the search committee wanted only two.
You would have to ask a majority of the members, and that's all I can say.
It was my understanding that the charge was never made clear to them that they
No, no,
should
no, no.
bring home 3.
No, I
3 to 5.
verified.
They should not bring home
I'll
3.
just answer that.
Sorry.
Well, I was going to talk about the process that got us there. But the three to 5 was brought up. The conversation about 3 was had. And that's all I can say about that, right? Because I want to keep that brief.
And-
We're in executive session.
And the school committee, my motion last week was for a third, and that was turned down by the majority of the school committee.
Because there were some of us that agreed. and
As to the
voted.
process, if it helps at all, Carl, there were 11 candidates. We sat together in the room and went through all 11 paper applications and looked at how they met the criteria established in the job posting, the notice of vacancy, which narrowed the field quite a bit. There were some interesting folks, I'm sure highly capable folks, but not perhaps to step in as the next superintendent in a regional, rural school district.
Hypothetically,
Yes.
may I go ahead? May I have?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hypothetically, let's say there was only one. Couldn't have happened.
Couldn't
We've
happen.
gone back, we would have ended up going back out. You can't bring one person forward out of executive session according to the open meeting law.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, that clarifies some things. Doesn't make me happier, but it clarifies some things.
I will say that I was impressed by the group as a whole. Everyone was vested in the process. Everyone ensured that their voice was heard in the process. Everyone brought a different perspective to the table. And at the end of the day, there was the agreement was clear from the group. How'd I do with that?
No.
Is that level?
No. I appreciate.
You did a great job. I think you did a great job. Thank you. I think that's.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't think there was a fault in the process. I just wish there had been a slightly different outcome. The outcome that Kim and Bonnie have urged, and maybe Arthur also, that there would be more than two. And I don't know that 3 would have been, that 4 would have been wrong, but I just think that two, one of whom it has been here for a number of months, puts us in an interesting, for want of a better term, position regarding our decision tonight. And I think we're kind of in a box, and I don't like that, but I don't think we can get out of that box. I don't think we should get out of that box. Not now, not on February 9th?
No.
Yeah.
Well, also, we have to listen to what the committee put forward. I mean, we can't just say, let's blow it up if we have qualified candidates. Whether we decide one's qualified, one's not qualified. That's what our job is. But there was, I mean, this was fought in the trenches and everybody had differing opinions, but that's what came out of it.
I don't think that this is going to make you feel better, but I'm going to tell you anyway, if you don't mind. The Greenfield School Committee had, how many applicants they had initially? They touted quite a few, more than 20 or something. But they advertised on School Spring, so I would probably, in my mind, I cut that almost in half immediately. Because this isn't, School Spring is not the place you would advertise a superintendent vacancy, right? There are places you would do that, and that's not one of them. They brought forward 2 candidates. One was from out of state, and one was a little more local, from Western Mass. Gil Montague has just brought forward, I don't know what's happening right now in the world of superintendencies. Well, I do. It's a hard job. And not a lot of people want to take on the job. Because of, although I hear that the education budget at the federal level has passed, at least a level funded, which means a cut, as we know, but at least it's passed. So some of the uncertainty is gone there with the federal funding, right, which was a big piece. And the response, it's a 24/7 job, Carl. And a lot of people with younger families that you might imagine are looking to move up as they grow in the field are not looking to take on that kind of a time commitment when they can be, in some districts, you can make, 120, 125, 130 as a principal, and you can go home
As
at
a
the end
teacher.
of the night. As a teacher, there are districts that are, I hate to say this, my daughter is one of those, and she's making in the mid-90s as a teacher in her 6th year.
Well, no, I think
Yeah.
that you, and particularly you, but also the members of this committee that were fully involved, and the members of the community that were fully involved, I have absolutely no criticism of the energy and the passion that they put into the process. That's not the problem. I think the problem is, as we sit here tonight, is that we have a way less than ideal situation. And regarding what you say is that we shouldn't be surprised by there being so few applicants, is that it's really a hard job. It's not. Yeah, I know. If I were qualified and I became superintendent, there would be a petition asking for my ouster after the first week. I know that. I know it's a hard job here. And I know that on an hourly basis, it's, don't look at $200,000, or look at it per hour. And it's probably a little bit more. Oh, the people on the teachers will like this. Not the teachers, Group D. I just passed Dunkin' Donuts and it's $17 an hour.
Carl.
Well, that's what they're starting people at. Okay,
You're off track, Carl.
okay, I'm done.
Oh my God, Carl.
First, I'd like to speak, and then Amy, and then Bonnie.
Okay.
So, I've been sitting on the school board for 18 plus years. I've sat on superintendent searches, just about all of them, I think. So, yes, times have changed. We don't have the candidates that we did before, but it's not an easy job. But this is the job that we're tasked with. And I've been working hand in hand with Brian since he got here. Kim and I have been here at least once or twice a week. But Brian's a really nice guy. He really is. He's out in the community, and that's a strong strength of his. But behind the closed doors and where we've been working, it hasn't been as rosy as it is here. So, and
Can you explain more about what you mean by not as rosy?
he's asked us a lot of questions. He doesn't know the answers to the questions. Some of the stuff is, on his side, isn't done in a timely fashion. That needs to be done. I mean, he gets the rural aid thing he had for 2 months, and it came down to the last 2 days.
With the previous superintendent helping him fill it out.
So there's a lot of things that nobody sees, and unfortunately, it's not good. For right now,
Can anybody speak to the benefits of Ms. Legault? I mean, we're focused so much on Brian.
Yep.
And I think that.
Can we talk about our tours?
This is another candidate.
Yeah, tours would be
How about the tours we did today?
Was Art done
Wait,
with his
right.
statement?
Okay.
I felt like he got
I'm
cut
sorry.
off.
No, he did get cut off.
Sorry, go ahead, Art.
so Brian's not the person, I believe, that can lead us. I mean, he's the person we need right today, but he's not the person that we need 1, 2, 3 years down the road. I just, in my personal opinion, not anybody else's, he just is not the person that we need driving the bus.
And I think you said I was next.
What, Brian?
I think you said I was next,
Yep.
but had you finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Sorry, my bad.
I share a lot of what Carl said. This is a horrible situation to be in, because if you look at things on paper, Liz is clearly more qualified than Brian. I, as an individual committee member, have not had several things responded to that I've asked for several times related to superintendent evaluation material, etc. But I spent 3 years with some of you in this room fighting the whole issue, excuse me, of whether our school district would survive. The merger issue has not died for a lot of people, and people fought for what the reality is of this district. Someone got up and spoke about the past, and I know we've all been hurt by a lot of the past, but what do we do moving forward? And part of me looks at it and says, well, if we have Brian, we've got a lot of people who will support a lot of new initiatives and current initiatives and make sure our kids really get the best. But we have someone like Liz who's got all these statewide connections and has done so many initiatives already. And I just know, had she been the interim, we would be having a completely different conversation. This is my last year after 13 years or 12, whatever it is. This is my last year, and what's so important is I've watched how many community members have come together over the past 6 months. And in a way, it's like having a bunch of like assistant superintendents to help out. I mean, people who have volunteered and whatever. But when it comes to the bottom line of the survival of the district and doing things right, we can't afford, first of all, we can't keep on having Beth be paid.
No.
I mean, we've got, she's been handling so much related to budget. We can't continue that legally. I don't know if we
got
can.
15 more days left. We've already used 15.
And the issue becomes, the two of you can't be spending your lives in here. This is not why you hire a superintendent. So I'm completely conflicted. I really go to what Carl said. I don't feel like I could be happy in either way. Brian has given so much over the past 6 months, but even looking, and I know how Glenn asks questions of people, as he has previously done great jobs vetting for us in most cases. I don't feel like I could do this, truthfully. I think I'll become one of the absent people. No, we don't have anyone absent. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that on paper and just listening to the detailed responses, and I did not meet her before tonight, but the detailed responses and the examples from her career, she is a much more qualified individual. But how do you go then when we know that there are so many bridges that have been built between Brian, students, faculty? I don't have an answer. That's just my gut at this point.
Amy?
I have an answer. I pulled this from our school committee handbook because I've been spending a lot of time reading it lately. And it says, and I quote, "We represent the needs and interests of all students in the district and place their interest above all other decisions that we make." And once again, I'm a little bit shocked that we're spending a lot of time discussing what some of you may think is a stinky situation, which is fine. Everyone can have their own opinions. But we just need to continue to move forward here. And while Carl may not have appreciated the feedback that we've got from our community, I 1000% needed it, loved it. I found it so incredibly telltale that we could get 36 emails, phone calls, letters, text messages, and every single one had the same message across the board. I don't know if any, some of us have sat on committees before, some of us have been part of hiring many different people in many different positions. And right now, speaking as a teacher for 20 years in the public schools in 3 different districts, I have never seen, not just in that, but in my life, seen so many people come together for the same cause. That alone is, how do you argue with that? And to say that, Brian's only been here for 5 months or whatever, how many years of experience combined or are represented in these letters? The letters of references from all of the administrators in this entire district. So they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have.
No, I don't think you're saying that.
How do we argue? How do we argue with what they said? I don't have the time available to highlight and take notes on all 24 emails that we got. So I copied and pasted them into ChatGPT, and I asked it to give me the top 5 themes because I continued to read the same things over and over again. And this is what it spit back out to me: that there's a visible relationship-centered leadership, that Dr. Ricca is repeatedly described as being present, approachable, and deeply relational. The bottom line is that people feel seen, known, and valued by him. There's a dramatic improvement in school climate, morale, and trust. Many writers described a clear before and after shift since his arrival. Words like fresh air, joy, hope, healing, and positive momentum appear repeatedly. The bottom line is his leadership has tangibly improved how it feels to work and learn in the district. 3, the student-first values and authentic care. Students are consistently positioned as the center of his decision-making. The bottom line is that people trust that his priority is students, not politics, ego, or appearances. 4, the collaborative, transparent, and trust-building leadership style. This includes praise for how he handled budgeting, administrative support, and honest communication. The bottom line is he leads with people, not over them. And 5, the broad, overwhelming community support and desire for continuity. This came from teachers, administration, staff, parents, students, alumni, community members, and long-term residents. The bottom line is that there's a strong cross-stakeholder consensus that he is the right leader now and moving forward. Across all messages, Dr. Ricca is portrayed as a highly visible, student-centered, relational leader who has restored trust, improved morale, unified the community, and earned broad support through authenticity, transparency, and daily action. And as I listen to what I'm hearing here, I'm hearing that he doesn't know the answers. I've never experienced that. Every single time I've asked a question, I've gotten an answer. I've heard about timely fashion. I've never had an issue with that, and I don't think that all of these 24 to 36 different people that have sent in their opinions felt that way, or they wouldn't have written that. In fact, I think it's opposite. I think we have been doing things in an untimely fashion. So I don't really think that that's an appropriate thing to say. And in terms of the detailed responses and examples from our other candidate, Liz, she may be a great person. She may be a good leader. I don't know. But I don't think that that's worth the risk when we have so many people, including, and I didn't mention, 150 students that also can vouch for this. It's not worth a risk to go with somebody that nobody knows. Of course, on paper, it's going to look good. Of course, they're going to try their best. But that's not even what she did today. She didn't have concrete answers when we asked them. There was so much pausing and thinking. And I mean, that alone leads me to not trust and believe in that person, because it shouldn't be that easy, or that hard, to answer these questions. I'm going to let someone else go.
Kim and then Bonnie.
You talk about trust and honesty, and he sat in that chair and he lied. Flat out, no other reason. He was online about that ESSER fund in a live interview apologizing. But yet he forgot. And then when we circled back again to the answer, he admitted to it. So he sat there. So how do you build trust and honesty when, straightforward, did you do that? What did you do with it? He goes, no, I did not put it in to my employees for salaries and stuff. It's like...
No, he said personnel.
Or personnel. Well, personnel. Stipends go to personnel. He gave stipends to his personnel. He gave, and I'm not disagreeing about it, and it's not even the point. The point is he lied.
Everyone lies.
It doesn't matter. He's the superintendent, and he's not supposed to lie.
I'm sure if we spent time digging into the other candidate, we could probably come across the same thing. The important part is that he learns from his mistakes.
He did. I just want to say, you said he lied at first, but then he came back and he did admit it. So he did.
Yeah,
he
but
did,
it
he
doesn't
did,
matter.
He
Your
didn't answer
first
it.
instinct was to cover his butt.
I do want to say one more point, is that in the reporting, it also, they reported that the school committee agreed with his decision. The only problem was that he did not go to them first. So I think it's a little bit blown up, that whole situation. If the school committee agreed and he just didn't go to them first, I mean, I think that's
So
totally
you're
blown up.
okay with him lying as long
I
as it was
think
okay in the end?
he covered his tracks. I think he came back.
But that's not, shouldn't be your first instinct as a superintendent, is to cover your butt or say something else. And what you also miss in that exchange, he gave himself a $2,000 stipend out of the COVID money that is supposed to be student focused.
ask a question?
No, because you're
No.
gallery.
I would love to
No.
ask a question,
No,
because it has
it's-
nothing to do with the superintendent. But this school committee sits here, and you guys borrowed $8.5 million to do that project without going to the member towns. Totally legal,
That's,
totally
you're missing,
live.
my point is he lied about it.
What,
in the
what,
beginning.
8.5 million?
It could have been a misstep.
He was live on public news. He knew he did it. And that's my issue. He went out to the communities, broadcasted on WCAX, and said, "I'm sorry." How do you forget that?
At least he apologized and he's owned up to. Kim, you've
I
never
get
lied?
that.
You've
I
never
get
made a
I was going to
mistake?
say, have you
Bonnie.
never made a mistake?
Yeah.
Bonnie,
Not in an interview.
It is, Amy, you look at what's in the best interest, and sometimes the best interest, everybody doesn't have all of the information. This is not easy. I in no way want to lose the support that we have had in terms of faculty members. I know the difference between when you feel like crap going into a classroom, and even if you don't want to transfer it to students, you do. So when you start feeling positive, you feel you're listened to, and I deny none of that, because it transfers all the way down the line. The fact that a teacher, was afraid to be walking out of the building because she left something in the car because she was afraid, someone's going to think. Brian said, no, it's normal, you do that. He has the best interest of our people all the time. My conflict is really in terms of, is this the best person given what's missing? And it's not just a matter of hiring a business manager. Given what's missing, is this the best decision for us? And I've been in a situation where I walked into someone's office here a number of years ago and found something on a desk that hadn't been sent out by the person. If I hadn't walked in by accident to meet with somebody else, that would have cost us $2 million. My question is, as we look at this, if we go with Brian, how do we make up for these gaps that even appear when Glenn does the research? And how do we know that and I'm not interested in everybody finding out every detail of what he did wrong and changing their minds. I was told by a faculty member that those signatures from students, this individual was told by a student that he asked them to do this. He asked them. That's wrong. And the student had no reason on earth to tell this faculty member except their individual innocence. We know that this is very difficult, and I didn't spend all that time, and a lot of other people didn't spend all that time saving our district, to not be able to save our district in a way that builds on all the strengths that Liz brought up. Those are incredible. So I think you heard me wrong with some of your comments there. I believe, and when I read some of the people I most admire in this school district writing the kinds of letters that they did, I totally appreciate it. If I hadn't been faced with other conflicting pieces of information, that has put me in a position where I don't feel comfortable voting on this. So no, you didn't give me any information that makes me feel any better. It's just worse. And if you're talking about the $8 million with our roof and boilers, every town approved it. So,
Every town approved it, but you borrowed the money
Right.
before going to the towns.
No.
I was on the finance committee then.
Well, then
Okay,
maybe we'll
no.
tell, but I'm not supposed to do this.
No.
But I.
No.
sorry.
I wasn't
Okay.
around, so.
You weren't around, you're excused.
Nancy?
I wish I had an answer. You have an answer?
Nancy, go ahead.
Can we, would it be possible to move on to discussing Ms. Legault?
Are we all going around just making comments? That's what I was
I don't
going
know,
to.
Nancy asked to make comments about Liz right now.
Are there any
Whatever.
comments about this?
I found her engaging when she went around and toured everybody. She talked to everybody. She talked on their level. She talked about programming she knew. She's an early college educator. She talked about sports and fitness. She talked about our basketball team and our Western Mass titles. And, you know, she toured the gym, the boiler room, nuts, soup to nuts. She sat down with the kids over at Egremont School while they danced and played the guitar. You know, I mean, am I wrong? Julie?
She didn't sit, she did,
Well, she's sitting
she
in that
did
little
sit
chair.
down.
She
She
sat
did
and
not
watched.
engage.
Well, no,
I
she
went on
listened.
both sets of
Right,
outline
right, but
tours,
she
so it
listened
was
and
different.
watched. But she did engage with Sarah in the kitchen and talking and stuff like that. But she did sit and watch while they danced and sang. And she, I mean, the chair in Egremont was like, I refused to sit down because I don't think I would have got back up. You know, when we went to New Marlboro Central, she did the same thing. She did the tour. But a lot of times the classrooms we went into, teachers are busy. Like we went to go look at early K in New Marlboro Central and they were sleeping. You know, you don't wake them up. So, you know, she talked to Ed about how old the boilers were, what may need or not need, how much fuel they burn, what kind of grants she's gotten in the past. They talked about the solar. I mean, there wasn't a part of the school she didn't hit. You know, I was just disappointed that not enough people came out to talk to her and give her a chance to speak to them. You know, and I thought that was sad because if you're going to make an educated decision, you need to hear both sides. Correct?
I thought there was a pretty good turnout this afternoon.
I didn't see a lot of staff.
Well, there were some.
Yeah, some.
Maybe not
But
as-
we have 200 staff.
Mhm.
And that, you know, out of 200, you would think some would have came. They didn't come to either side, actually, believe it or not, which you would have thought they would have come to either side, but they didn't.
But they did have the opportunity, some of them, to speak when they were out at the schools.
At
Yes,
lunch.
They did.
And it was very, some of them were very, very short and kind of at arm's length. I didn't feel a real sense of engagement.
Was
She
that
did talk
her?
with them.
Was it her or them?
I don't know, it felt like she was a little standoffish.
I agree.
And I didn't know if it was that she just didn't want to infiltrate a little bit too much or probe a little bit too much. I'm not sure, but I didn't feel a lot of engagement between her and staff. It was very superficial. I guess that's the word. It might be.
It was very forced.
Yeah, well, I
felt-
wouldn't say it was
I
forced. I just thought it was very high level.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a lot of deep conversation or.
I think she spent most of the time with the deep conversation with like Jonathan Dewar and then Ed and stuff like that. And then.
Well, that's true.
And then one of the paras, I forgot her name, she used to be the special education director here. And then
Okay.
Lindsay. So-
Let Jim speak. Jim?
Is it appropriate to call the question?
No, I'm not done.
Is it appropriate to call the question?
Is there a second?
What was his question? I didn't hear it.
He wants to
Call
put
the
it to a
question.
vote right now.
Well, there's no motion made, so there's no question to call, frankly. But I think, I don't feel like we're done deliberating.
Our decision among the two candidates that we interviewed tonight.
So if,
What was the
if
beginning
Jim
of
is
that?
saying
Hear
to
that.
call the question, we could turn it down if we still have things to say.
No, you need a second?
You'd have to vote me down now, yes.
You'd have to have a second.
He'd have to have a second.
But I have more to say.
Is that debatable?
No,
No.
no, call the question is not.
What's the question?
Call the question is not.
But there's no vote, there's no motion.
There's no motion ahead of
There's no motion.
He's preliminary, there's no motion.
So once a motion's made.
Then you can call the
somebody
question.
calls the question, it's not debatable.
I move that we call the question.
We don't have the questions to
Yeah,
call.
and then nobody
Question
seconded
is,
it.
which one are we voting for? It's easy. I move that we vote, that we call the question, which one we're voting for, among the two candidates.
Now there would need to be a second.
It's not
There is
proper.
no second.
There's
It's
no
not-
second.
It's not proper parliamentary
It's not
procedure.
Right.
Not what?
It's not accepted parliamentary procedure, and
Not
we're,
accepted, but we have to vote on my motion.
No, we don't.
Because
There was
nobody
no
seconded.
There's no second, okay.
Julie.
I actually think we have really two fine candidates. However, they are night and day. They are very, very different candidates. They have different approaches, different personalities. I mean, I'm not a technical person. I can appreciate what Liz Legault brings to the table. But as I recall, when we hired Brian Ricca as our interim, I don't remember, he was not my first choice, I will put that. He was probably my second choice. And I actually don't remember who made the statement about needing the relationships. And I have come to value that side of everything that's happening here. I can feel the sense of conflict between what Bonnie and Carl are saying, just because of my own strengths and my own thoughts and my own experience. But I do think that having the positive climate, the positive culture that has turned around in 5 months, technical skills can be learned. They can't be learned overnight. There are pieces that can go. I think it's exceptional that first of all, I can't even believe that given the truncated interim search, that we found somebody so fast last summer that could bring our school community together in 5 months is extraordinary. Because nobody ever thought that would happen. You know, it was like a temporary fix. Okay, and then we move on. You know, so in that way, to me, Brian is still the standout. Now, Kim, I know you say, oh, he lied. I said, well, you know, it was 3 superintendencies ago. It was a very small, you know, it was a detail. His hand was slapped. One thing that I will say is when he has made missteps, he is a reflective educator. He learns from those mistakes. He got a vote of no confidence in Rhode Island. He's not got a vote of no confidence here. There were people here that I thought would be very kind of anti-everything, and I saw them laughing and talking in the hall today. I was stunned. I was just like, what happened? And I actually went to the teacher and said, what happened? And anyway, so figure that out. I don't think we need someone that's going to bring every answer to the table. I think what's important is empowering the admin team and the faculty and staff, and to have a leader like Brian who's going to have the team approach and tease out the questions that then we can, the faculty and staff can answer together. And that will make it a unified approach when everybody's going forward, when it's just one person leading the charge. That's when the followees fall to the wayside. We watched that happen in the last 7 years. That's, you know, started out strong and left people in the dust, and it didn't work. So what's coming together is really important in terms of the school climate and the things that were said, you know, and I too, you know, I did say, you know, wow, we're getting a lot of letters. And was it orchestrated? I really don't think so. I think that because the school climate has changed so substantially, people were moved to do that. I got an unsolicited phone call from the Sheffield police chief tonight at 5 o'clock. Unsolicited. I didn't call him to tell me how it was a breath of fresh air working with Brian Ricca on safety issues in our school district. I didn't call and talk to him. He called me. He says, I'm just putting my 2 cents worth in. But safety is one of our biggest issues, right? Safety, budget, and hiring the superintendent. I mean, those are there. If it were up to me, I don't know whether, I don't know if others still need to make statements, but we could perhaps do a straw poll and see where we are if we're able to do a vote. But my vote would be for Brian Ricca tonight. I think he's the one we need today. It doesn't mean I couldn't hire Liz Legault, because I think she has enough strengths that in another space and time, she might be a good leader for us. I'm not sure she's the leader we need today.
Bonnie?
I have a question, Liz, for you. Given what you heard about some of our misgivings, I believe we have the votes that Brian will be picked. That's my just straw poll assumption. Is there a way that MASC or MASS could help us so we can avoid problems in what we negotiate as a contract?
Well, MASS is going to help the superintendent elect, whomever that is. You have an attorney that would help you on your side. I'm sure that Glenn would be happy to weigh in. He has a model contract that he likes to refer to. The last time I looked at it was probably 6 or 7 years ago, so to be honest, I'd have to look at it again, but we do
Yeah,
have some.
I have no problem. Well, but because my indication, my sense is, I can't throw out, let's put aside whether the kids did whatever, they like him. And I've sat in, when he runs his workshops. You can't turn away what the faculty and the administration here have done in terms of their response and what I see. I want us to protect us. We didn't fight for the survival and growth of our district to not be able to do it and to wind up in some kind of trouble. So, Julie, I believe in loads of, I believe in what you said, but I also know that everybody doesn't have all of the same information. And I want to know, but that's a good idea, that we would be able to turn to Glenn and his experience, and also in, should we pick Brian, I'd be more than happy to share what my misgivings were and find out how he would address it. But, there's a big part of me that will not throw out what we've seen from our faculty, from our staff, from everything from what used to be Unit D to A. So it's a hard decision, and
So I would add to that, Bonnie,
yes,
if I may.
please.
My colleagues, a couple of my colleagues and I who work, oftentimes will go as a small team to districts and do a retreat geared specifically to the issues that are of concern to them. We've had this conversation about a couple of searches because the ideal time when you bring on a new superintendent is over the summer to meet with the committee and in a small and less formal way, right? And to do some training, to present some information and, provide from our side of the table best practices, laws and regulations, things that must be followed, right? Things that can't be done. And from your experience, and I know this now, I've moved to a new community, I'm on a new school committee, everybody does their own thing. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Until you take the time to seek it out. And so we would be more than happy to help any way we could with whomever you hire to help to grow and foster that relationship with accurate information.
Appreciate it, because I think we would need to take advantage, we should take advantage of it.
Nancy?
Thanks. Along the contractual questions, Bonnie, I agree with you. I think that, just from that, I think that the contract is going to be interesting for, both from the school, would be interesting both from the school committee and from the, who the superintendent is, regardless of whether it's Brian or Liz, Dr. Ricca or Ms. Walsh. I think that my experience working with Brian has been something different from what Kim and Art have experienced. But I think that the continuity would be really important personally, at least for the contract, for the time of the contract. I think that the district has flourished in the last 5 months, kind of a breath of fresh air. And I think to change that right now would be a disservice to the kids, never mind to, because I think that the faculty and staff are in a much different place than where they've been. And I think that to screw up, I don't mean screw up this on the record, but to change, personally think that to change the continuity to that. So that's 100%. But yes, I think the contractual piece, Bonnie, I agree. That's a very important piece of the house. And at this,
Thank
if
you.
we choose Brian, for those of us who are tend to be more supportive of him than not, it's all contract pending, right? It's not like when we did the interior program assessment, something is the best contract we could.
You
Very
okay?
different situation.
I just have one other thing to say. I did, for the people that emailed me back today, that is all public record, and
Some of it we saw during the interim.
right,
So it
you
was
you
not
asked me
new
that question.
information.
What was the question? Can you repeat it?
Yeah, the stuff that Kim and I sent out, it's all public record, and we could talk about it, so there's no...
Is your attorney still on? Because I would just say, he should probably answer this, because there's a difference between public record and publicly accessible.
No, we're not going any further with it, so I'm just sharing the articles that were sent to you.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. I think there's absolutely, one of the school committee members raised the question of whether it was legal to make that public, and of course it is. If someone wrote a letter someone wrote a letter to the Berkshire Eagle criticizing one of the candidates, however many people get the Berkshire Eagle, 30,000, 40,000, and to say that it's not legal to then disseminate that letter to the Berkshire Eagle is just silly. It's not true. But I think, and I won't say anything further until I vote, but I think Bonnie's suggestion is a very valuable one. That is, some of the misgivings that some of us have can be addressed by a very careful, meticulous, thoughtful drafting of the contract between the superintendent and the district. And vagueness does not serve anybody's purpose, and so that concerns that we have can be addressed, not completely addressed, of course, because it's just a writing and there are limits to it and there are interpretations of it, but I think that what Bonnie said about being very careful and enlisting the help of Glenn Kuchar of MASC,
and our attorney, Josh Coleman, is something we should follow. And having said that, I move that we vote.
Second.
Did we say vote for whom? Or just straw poll vote? How do you mean that, Carl?
No, well, I mean,
Just vote.
no, just vote.
Okay.
See where it lands.
Okay.
Jim?
Vote for Brian.
No,
Vote
no, no.
on the motion first?
Yeah, we have to.
We're voting on the motion.
We're voting on the motion. Excuse me.
vote.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Yes.
Jill? Kim?
Yes.
Arthur, yes. Now we'll vote on the candidates. Jim?
Brian.
Nancy?
Eureka.
Bonnie?
Brian.
What? I didn't hear Nancy's vote.
Rika.
Okay.
Ricca.
Yep.
Brian.
Julie?
Brian Ricca.
Yep. Amy?
Brian.
Carl?
I'm a strong believer in consensus. And although I have my concerns, which I've voiced, and I think I was pretty clear about them, I think that it's clear to me that Brian has the necessary votes. So I want him to feel, since he is going to be the next superintendent in all likelihood, that I want him to feel that he has the support of, if not the full committee, at least as many as possible. So I'm going to, I cast my vote for him.
Legault?
Brian.
Kim?
I'm gonna go with Liz.
Liz? So Brian is the superintendent of Southern Berkshire Regional School District, pending contract negotiations.
Do we have we should have a count for the record. What is
So
the count?
Seven
vote of
to
7 to 2.
7 to 2?
Yep.
And could I just say thank you to all of you who came out tonight, and some of you who have already told us your opinions previously, and they were really important for a lot of us. And I hope going forward, this will be the way we live here.
Yes.
Take a brief recess to call Mr. Ricca, see if he'll accept. It seems ceremonious.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we should
should.
do that.
We should.
We should do that. And then are we going to do some executive session just to generally talk about contracts?
I think it,
Typically, the chair would go ahead and call the candidate.
Yep, I'll go call.
okay.
Okay.
Can I just say one thing, Art, before you go?
Yep.
I just want to say, everybody has worked so hard on this process. I think that when we disagree, we have listened really well. I think that we have learned from one another. And I personally am extremely proud of how we've gone about it. There's been senses of humor during difficult moments, Gail's humor. And yeah, kudos. That's all I can say. It was, again, thanks to everybody for all the efforts and things that we did.
Thank you.
So thank you. I just wanted to-
This was not easy.
Arthur, before
Jim,
you
enjoy
go,
your birthday.
you're making.
So
you're
are we
making
declaring a
phone call,
recess?
Yes.
Thank
right? Are we going to have an executive session? Is there any need for it?
We need our lawyer for contracts though, so.
But
So then,
Well, but are there pieces, then,
When's our next school committee meeting?
not till the 25th. We need to do something before
Well, he's
that.
still on an interim contract, so that's not gonna change
Right.
anything.
we've got,
So
we've got a
he
contract
would
with
end
it.
his interim contract and then start his superintendent thing.
I would think it would behoove us to get the details ironed out sooner than later, because what if the pending contract negotiations didn't work? Then are we starting all over again?
Yes, we are.
Well, but you see what I'm saying? We need to know that sooner than later.
Yeah, but we
Josh
need
here.
Josh.
Yeah,
It's silly
can't
for us
just-
to have.
Julie, we can't do it.
No, I understand, yeah.
can't do it
No,
tonight.
No, I see we can't do it
No,
tonight.
that's what I said,
But I think we should do it before the 25th, is what I'm saying.
Nancy wants to say something.
Oh,
Oh, it's just a question of the negotiations, is that I think is between the district and the lawyers, and I think that can take quite a while to iron out. It's not a done deal. It's not a, that's going to be a bit of back and forth if it's similar to other long-term contracts that
Yeah.
are following.
Nancy, there are issues that were brought up that we said, based on what Liz said, we don't want to wait till the 25th, 28th, whatever, to bring those up.
Right. Oh, I agree.
yeah. I don't want it to wait till the 25th to start it, that's all. Yeah,
I think the discussion can come up, assuming it's been started by that time.
it's Monday. We could maybe meet Thursday for only executive session, right? I mean, maybe? I don't know.
I still need the approval on that training, setting up, for, not training, but a session for anybody interested in possibly
Yeah?
being, and I need that approved so I can get it into the newspapers and other things.
Well, then maybe we can do that in executive session. I mean, just have a special meeting for special topics and be done.
Well, that could be open and then to go into executive
yeah,
session
exactly.
for that.
Yeah.
As long as we
What's
can get
pending.
Josh. I don't want to waste the amount of money we spend on Josh, on us hashing it all out.
Yeah. I would
You know
agree.
what would be funny?
And it might be, Liz, good if maybe during that executive session, you, Glenn, being on a call.
So we're not doing anything else, right?
I don't think so.
Good.
We're waiting for Art to come back.
Can he hear?
Calling
In order
Brian
to
now.
end it?
Liz, can he hear? No, I mean it.
Can you hear, yeah.
I have to go with my.
I'm a big fan of irony. Wouldn't it be funny if Arthur comes back and says that Brian Ricca has accepted the other position?
Right.
Well, there's no other position is offering tonight.
Yeah.
I did map that out.
You did, okay.
And Liz Legault was a finalist in 2 other districts, not just us, and another 3.
I hope we'll be sending her a
Martha's
lovely
Vineyard is
letter.
one of them, Nancy.
Is that true? He's a finalist in 2 other districts?
Yes, Amesbury and Martha's Vineyard. No, Liz Legault.
Oh,
The woman, Liz Legault is in 3.
but Brian just 2.
In 2.
Gil
As far as I know.
Montague.
I don't know where the other one is.
Gil Montague.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Boy, we just keep on circulating
He
superintendent.
was also had to look for a job.
I get it, you don't need to.
Recording in progress.
Listen, are you leaving right now? No.
I see him when I go, Eric, they leave my voice, I don't see him.
Gonna call us back to order quickie like?
He accepts.
We have a superintendent. All
You mean
right.
you didn't bring him in here to accept?
I hope he went home.
Oh, he's home already.
Oh my God, he better not still be here.
He's somewhere, I don't know where, but he's not here.
He's not here. He shouldn't be here.
So is it appropriate to move to adjourn?
Yeah, well, I don't know, Bonnie,
We
you want
would
to
do-
talk about Art about?
We were talking about if we have a special school committee, which was originally scheduled for Thursday, I think. We could then do, if we can get Josh, and also I need approval on if we're gonna do that session for anybody in the 5 towns interested in possibly thinking of running for school committee. I need to get the school committee to approve that so I could send out notices and everything. So,
It's a hard thing.
no, that doesn't need to be.
No, it would
So
be
that
like
would be
one item, just
one
a
item
special
in
item.
regular, special item, and then the executive session, if you find out that we could get Josh
But he paid the whole school.
for like a half hour or so, and if we could get Glenn Kuchar.
Actually, you know what, it may be difficult, because doesn't Brian leave for that conference tomorrow?
Yes, Brian's leaving.
Brian's leaving, I mean, that doesn't mean he can't talk on the phone about contract
Yeah,
terms.
We could do it
But I'm just saying, I just thought of that.
But the executive, we don't really, we would be putting forward what we want.
It's our strategy.
It's our
Our
strategy.
strategy of what we want to present to him, which is what we did last time, right?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
I don't agree with you that
We don't
everybody
need him for
lies.
that.
need him.
We need to
I don't
talk
agree with you
in
that
executive
everybody
session.
lies.
What we
Yeah,
want.
I know people who I think have never lied.
Excuse me.
So I guess we just need to find out.
I mean, and of course, it also depends on
On the
what,
definition of
on
a
what
lie.
you consider a lie, right?
I'm just suggesting we try to get on it.
I'm late because there was a lot
What's
of
that?
traffic, and there wasn't.
Okay.
That's-
So should we have
that's-
Carl make the
that's a lie,
infamous
that's all.
motion?
But it's, but, oh, I'm
Infamous
up.
motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes, yes, yes, yes.
Aye. Aye, aye,
I
aye.